The influence of the national top scholar. _6. Little Ni Yun nodded. Yes, my name is Ni Yun. The Yun from my sister's Ni Yun. Yun Yun is awesome. Du Jiao Jiao pinched little Ni Yun's face. Will you give your big sister a kiss? Sure. Little Ni Yun kissed Du Jiao Jiao fiercely. A while later, Du Jiao Jiao realized that Ni Yang wasn't home. Grandma? Where is Yang Yang? Is Yang Yang not home? Madame Shangguan said. She was just here. She disappeared in the blink of an eye. As soon as she finished speaking, there was noise at the door. Granny! Grandma! I'm back. Ni Yang pushed the door open, carrying 2 big fat fish in her hands, her clear face smeared with a drop of mud, like a stroke of thick ink mistakenly entering clear water, which, far from looking awkward, added a touch of charm. She wore no shoes, her trouser legs rolled up to her calves, revealing a segment of her fair and lovely leg. Seeing the guests in the house, Ni Yang exclaimed in surprise, Big brother Du, sister Jiao Jiao, how come you're here? Du Jiao Jiao said with a smile. Why? Aren't you happy to see us? Ni Yang smiled slightly. How could that be? I couldn't be happier. Have a seat, I'll take the fish to the kitchen. I'll go with you. Du Jiao Jiao linked her arm with Ni Yang's. Okay. Ni Yang nodded her head and led Du Jiao Jiao to the kitchen. After delivering the fish to the kitchen, Ni Yang washed her feet under the garden tap, found a pair of slippers to put on, and casually washed her face. Du Jiao Jiao said, Yang Yang, your house decoration is really nice. I heard from your grandma that you designed it yourself. Ni Yang nodded. I did design it myself. Initially, it was just for fun. I didn't expect the outcome to be this appealing. Perhaps finding the room stuffy, Old Du and Wang Ziki came to sit down by the small stone table in the yard. Madame Zhang brought some pastries and tea. Old Du stood up and said, You're too polite. Madame Zhang smiled. There's no need for politeness. Just relax, Old Du and Xiaodu. When Du Jiao Jiao saw the mung bean cakes on the plate, her brow twitched with worry, because Old Du doesn't eat legumes. He surely wouldn't embarrass an elderly lady, would he? Just as Du Jiao Jiao felt anxious, she saw Old Du take a piece of mung bean cake and taste it. It tastes very good. This must be homemade, right? Madame Zhang smiled. Exactly, Yang Yang just made them yesterday. They're very fresh. Seeing this, Du Jiao Jiao breathed a sigh of relief. Thankfully, Old Du didn't make the old lady feel awkward. Otherwise, it would have been embarrassing. Plop! Just then, a small bird landed on Old Du's shoulder. You little rascal, you've come. Are you still holding grudges? Can't you change the nickname? Old Du took out a grain of bird food from his pocket to feed Duo. Duo pecked at the bird food. Du Changfeng. Du Changfeng. My name is Du Changfeng. Old Du. Du Jiao Jiao was stunned. How did Duo know Old Du's real name? After all, in the entire 10-mile port, the number of people who know Old Du's real name did not exceed 10. This was really bizarre. Old Du actually told his name to a bird. If those outside found out, wouldn't they be furious? Little bastard, want more to eat. Duo pecked at Old Du boldly. Little Ni Yun ran over from not far away, panting, and said to Old Du, Brother, your name is really strange. That's what my grandpa calls people when he curses. Old Du kept smiling. On the surface, grinning from ear to ear. Inside, swearing a streak. Ha ha! Du Jiao Jiao couldn't help but burst into laughter, holding her stomach. For the first time in her life, Du Jiao Jiao saw Old Du lose face. It was just too rare. Ni Yang picked up the basket, preparing to get some vegetables. Sister Jiao Jiao, do you want to come with me to the village? Sure. Du Jiao Jiao replied enthusiastically. The two of them went to the fields together. From afar, Du Jiao Jiao smelled a strong fragrance of roses, which was very pleasant. Yang Yang, are there roses planted here? Du Jiao Jiao asked. Ni Yang smiled and said, Sister Jiao Jiao, turn around and look behind you. Du Jiao Jiao turned around and was stunned. Covering her mouth with both hands, eyes filled with shock, she saw behind her a vast expanse of fiery red. It was September, and the farmland was filled with blooming roses, stretching to the horizon. A sight so beautiful it was breathtaking. It had a monumental presence. Du Jiaojiao had seen roses before, but she had never seen such a large expanse of roses. Combined, these roses must cover several hundred yuan. So beautiful! Du Jiaojiao exclaimed in shock. Yang, are these all roses? Yang nodded. These roses are the raw materials for essential oils and hydrosols. Du Jiaojiao continued. Yang, can we go over and take a closer look? Of course. The two of them went to the rose field. Du Jiaojiao was overjoyed, stretching out her arms and saying, "It would be great if we had a camera." Yang laughed and said, "We have a camera at home. We can come back here to take pictures after lunch." Really? That's great. Du Jiaojiao continued, "Can I pick some roses to take back?" A peasant woman walked by, smiling and saying, "You can pick as much as you like." Yang greeted her with a smile. Sister Kaidan. Sister Kaitian said, Yang, is this your friend? Let her pick as much as she wants. My place doesn't have much, but we have plenty of roses. Yang nodded. Thank you, Sister Kaitian. Du Jiaojiao also expressed her gratitude. She could feel that Yang was very popular in Jinghua village because the villagers' smiles were genuine. Du Jiaojiao picked a large bunch of roses to take back, and Yang discreetly counted them, planning to settle the account later with Sister Kaitian. Coincidentally, not long after, Yan Erju and Wu Jinshu and their family of 6 also arrived. Wu Jinshu came specifically to thank Yang. If it weren't for Yang, he wouldn't have landed such a big project, and Yang's family had been really good to his family. Seeing Mr. Du again, Wu Yinyun was startled. She didn't expect to meet Mr. Du at Yang's house. She was even more surprised that Yang and Mr. Du knew each other. Yang took the initiative to introduce them. Godfather, Godmother, this is my good friend, Mr. Du, and this lady here is Miss Du. This is my master's son, Wang Ziki. Mr. Du nodded at them. Du Jiaojiao said with a smile, Uncle, Aunt, just call me Jiaojiao. Wang Ziki followed up, Uncle, Aunt, you can just call me Ziki. After speaking, Wang Ziki added, Junior sister, I didn't expect this little comrade to be your younger sister. Because Wu Yenyun was somewhat stubborn, Wang Ziki had some impression of her. Wu Yenyun said, It's a small world. I didn't expect that you knew Sister Yang. Yang exclaimed in surprise, You know each other? Wu Yenyun looked at Mr. Du and succinctly said, Mr. Du has been kind to me. That 100 yuan really solved a lot of problems for the Wu family, and Wu Yenyun had already done as Mr. Du suggested, distributing that 100 yuan to those in need. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Do you want another slap? What exactly the favor was, Yang didn't ask further. But she was somewhat surprised, because in all the time she had known Grandpa Du, she never knew he had a compassionate side. Although Grandpa Du practiced Buddhism, he had a fierce and violent demon living in his heart. Yang said with a smile, So, it's like that, huh? Since everyone knows each other, there's no need to be reserved. Aha! Wu Yenyun nodded. Seeing that it was almost time for dinner, Yang went to cook, while Du Jiaojiao, who had never cooked before, found the earthen stove intriguing. Rolling up her sleeves, she offered to help Yang. In fact, the Anai family also had a gas stove, but Yang felt that the food cooked on the gas stove wasn't as aromatic as that cooked on the earthen stove. So the Anai family always used the earthen stove. Yang didn't refuse her offer, smiling and saying, Sister Jiaojiao, then you can help me watch the fire. I've already started it. Just add some wood if it looks like it's dying down. Sure thing, Du Jiaojiao declared, patting her chest. Leave it to me. Grandma Shangguan and Grandma Zhang were washing vegetables outside, everyone working well together, and soon the kitchen filled with enticing aromas. Yang, are we going to have roasted chicken for lunch? Your grandfather caught a wild chicken outside, It's still alive. And Ai Tsuehua walked in carrying a wild chicken. And Ai Yang had just finished stir-frying a dish. Yes, definitely. Wild roasted chicken is the most fragrant. Du Jiao asked curiously, roasted chicken? Pretty lady, do you have an oven in your house? And Ai Yang replied with a smile, no oven, but we have a natural oven. A natural oven? What's that? Du Jiao asked. And Ai Yang kept it a secret. You'll see in a bit. And Ai Tsuehua passed the wild chicken to an Ai Yang. Then he'll go light the fire in the bread oven. Okay. And Ai Yang took the chicken with one hand and the kitchen knife with the other, following an Ai Tsuehua towards the yard. Du Jiao followed an Ai Yang's footsteps. She had never seen a chicken being killed before. The bird was a male wild chicken with shiny feathers, almost as splendid as a little phoenix, extremely beautiful. And Ai Yang's hand moved, and the knife fell, fresh blood dripping from the chicken's neck into a bowl of salt water. Du Jiao gave a thumbs up. Pretty lady, your way of killing chickens is impressive. She had thought an Ai Yang wouldn't dare to kill a chicken. After all, it was a bloody scene indeed. And Ai Yang said with a smile, it's just a chicken, no big deal. Grandpa Du and Wang Ziki were playing chess at a stone table, multitasking, and when they heard her, Grandpa Du's lips curved slightly. Killing a chicken for an Ai Yang was indeed a small matter. After all, the person dared to swallow snake gall. Wang Ziki, a bit crude, didn't really know how to play Go, and in less than 2 games he was utterly defeated. Seeing Wu Yenyun approaching, he was like a man seeing rescue, waving at Wu Yenyun. Yenyun, come here a moment. Are you calling me? Wu Yenyun pointed at herself. Aha. Wang Ziki nodded. Wu Yenyun trotted over. Big brother Wang, you needed me? Wang Ziki stood up from the stone bench. Yenyun, why don't you play chess with Grandpa Du? I've lost quite a few games already. After saying this, Wang Ziki added, do you know how to play Go? A little, Wu Yenyun nodded. Then take over. Wu Yenyun nodded again, and leaned in to sit across from Grandpa Du. Wang Ziki truly didn't know how to play the game. He had made a mess of the chessboard, to the point where not even a professional player could turn it around, and Wu Yenyun's brow furrowed slightly. This game, without doubt, Wu Yenyun lost. The second game, Wu Yenyun lost again. Honestly, Wu Yenyun's skill in chess was not bad, but the person sitting across from her was Grandpa Du, who was like a war-hardened Azura, capable of killing without a trace. Before Wu Yenyun could respond, she was already sinking deep into the mire. Wu Yenyun racked her brains, but she couldn't turn the tables even once. Not everyone was an Ai Yang. Not everyone had an Ai Yang's skills in chess. After several games, a bored look appeared in Grandpa Du's eyes. He picked up the Buddha beads on his right and stood up. Ziki, you take over. Oh. Wang Ziki sat down again. Only this time his opponent was Wu Yenyun. Wu Yenyun glanced at Grandpa Du, a flicker of unease in her eyes. Was it because Grandpa Du thought she was too dumb? But her chess skills were quite good among her peers. She had even won a school Go competition before. Distracted by her thoughts, this round she somehow let Wang Ziki, the complete amateur, win. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Do you want another slap? _2. And Ai Yang and Du Jiao, holding the processed pheasants, came to the front of the bread oven and began to roast the chicken. Du Jiao said, Big beauty. So this is the natural oven you were talking about. And Ai Yang nodded. Du Jiao stroked her chin. I seem to have seen this abroad. While taking out the charcoal from the bread oven, and Ai Yang stuffed the pheasant inside. This was indeed passed down from abroad. Although it's not as convenient as a modern oven, it's much more useful because it uses applewood for the fire, so the food it roasts is much tastier than what you'd get from an oven. Du Jiao nodded, nonchalantly touched the charcoal with her hand, and pointed to the other side. Big beauty, what is that over there? HM? What? And Ai Yang turned to look. Du Jiao swiftly smeared her hand on Ai Yang's face, leaving a black mark on that clear and handsome face. The contrast of white and black giving off a somewhat cunning appearance. Wow, big beauty. Your skin is so white and tender. Du Jiaojiao instantly turned into a drama queen. Unsuspecting, and Ai Yang smiled, touching her face and spreading the black mark wider. Really? Du Jiaojiao held back laughter. Really? Really? Your skin is as smooth as cream and so pretty. And Ai Yang felt something odd about Du Jiaojiao but couldn't quite put her finger on it. She reached out and pinched Du Jiaojiao's face. Sister Jiaojiao, tell me, did you just play a trick on me? No, I really didn't. Du Jiaojiao earnestly denied. Do I look like the kind who would play tricks on people? From a distance, Du Yi was watching them with a gentle smile on his face. Holding Buddha beads in his hand, he strolled over. Do you have a study room in your house? Study room? And Ai Yang was momentarily stunned before replying. Yes, we do. Let Duoduo take you there. No sooner had she finished speaking than Duoduo flew over from a nearby tree. Du Yi followed Duoduo forward. Wu Yenyun lost interest in playing chess and ran to Ai Yang's side. Yang sis, I'm starting my senior year of high school. Can I borrow a set of review materials for the senior year? Of course. And Ai Yang nodded. I'll look for them this afternoon. Wu Yenyun smiled and said, No need. I can go to the study room and find them myself. All right, then go find them. And Ai Yang continued. Anyway, I won't be using those materials anymore. Take whatever you want. Oh, by the way, the senior year materials are all placed in the cabinet under the desk. Just look in the cabinet. Got it. Wu Yenyun nodded. And Ai Yang's study room was set up in a well-lit room on the second floor, with a creeper plant and some succulents on the balcony. Everything clean and bright. The room was simply furnished with 4 rows of bookshelves, a desk, and a chair, with only a faint scent of ink and paper in the air. A book lay upside down on the desk with a pale red cover reflecting the English letters Humboldt's Gift. This was Humboldt's Gift, a famous book from M country. To the left of the desk, there remained an unfinished cup of coffee. Those with a keen sense of smell could still detect a faint aroma of coffee, as if through these things they could envision the study's owner leisurely sipping coffee and reading books into the quiet of the night, their nearly transparent fingertips brushing over the pages, with nothing but the soft sounds of pages turning in the air. Dee picked up Humboldt's Gift and found it was all in English, without a single Chinese character, which made him raise his eyebrows in surprise. It seemed the person was much more than what he understood. Calm and collected, Dee strolled through the bookshelves. The books on the shelves were clearly categorized. 1 row for foreign classics, 1 for domestic classics, 1 for historical and biographical works, and another for collections of dramas. The transition from classic literature to drama revealed that the study's owner had a wide range of interests. Just then, footsteps sounded outside the study room. Was this person not trusting him? Dee glanced back slightly and, unexpectedly, the person who came wasn't an Ai Yang but Wu Yenyun. Mr. Du Yi gave a slight nod, subtly withdrew his gaze, and continued to select books. Wu Yenyun didn't speak further. She went to the desk and squatted down to look for her senior year review materials. After a little while, Dee pulled out a copy of Diamond Sutra from the shelf and then walked out. As the footsteps grew distant, Wu Yenyun let out a soft sigh, sat on the floor, and stared out the window lost in thought. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Do you want another slap? _3. Actually, she wasn't here for review materials at all. She didn't even know what was wrong with herself. After seeing Du Jiaojiao again, she couldn't help but want to be near him. Even if they didn't speak, just watching him filled her heart with satisfaction. If he spoke to her or even just nodded, she would get so excited, inexplicably happy, happier than if she'd won first place in her grade. How strange. Wu Yenyun covered her face with her hands, took a deep breath, stood up, and casually picked up a book of ancient poetry from the shelf. She flipped a page and, with a quick glance, she thought she saw this line. The hill has wood, the wood has branches. My heart delights in you, but you do not know. Wu Yenyun slapped her own face hard. God, what was she thinking about? She couldn't go on like this. Du Jiaojiao was not someone she could even dare to think about. But the more she tried not to think about him, his face kept appearing before her eyes. With that thought, Wu Yenyun tiptoed and peered out the window into the courtyard. She saw Du Jiaojiao sitting under the osmanthus tree reading a book. He was wearing a robe, his legs crossed casually, a posture that seemed effortless yet had a fatally attractive pull. A gentleman's grace is like fine carving and polishing. Thump, thump, thump. Wu Yenyun clearly felt her heart beating stronger and stronger, her cheeks burning. She quickly shifted her gaze and crouched down to continue searching for review materials. Not caring whether the materials were useful or not, Wu Yenyun grabbed a stack and headed downstairs. After lunch, Du Jiaojiao hadn't forgotten about the rose field and pulled an Yang with her to take pictures in the rose field. Yenyun, do you want to join us? You could take photos of us. Du Jiaojiao looked at Wu Yenyun. Wu Yenyun glanced at Du Jiaojiao from the corner of her eye. I'm feeling a bit sleepy, so I won't go. You and Sister Yang Yang go ahead. Okay then. Du Jiaojiao turned to Wang Ziki. Ziki, do you want to come with us? Wang Ziki scratched his head. Sorry, second miss. I need to deliver some fertilizer to Grandpa Zhang in the eastern part of the village soon. Grandpa Zhang was now so absorbed in clearing new land that he spent at least 6 or 7 hours a day in the fields. Since coming to Jinghua village, his complexion had darkened several shades. Du Jiaojiao said worriedly, What should I do then? If no one goes, who will take photos for me? And Yang smiled and said, Don't worry, Sister Jiaojiao, I can take them for you. Du Jiaojiao responded, But I wanted to take pictures with you too. And Yang continued, For joint photos, it's simple. We can set the camera to automatic shooting mode. Selfies won't look as good as photos taken by someone. Du Jiaojiao sounded slightly disappointed. I'll go with you. Du Jiaojiao put down the diamond sutra he had in his hands and walked over. Du Jiaojiao's eyes lit up, thinking she had heard wrong. Really? Du Jiaojiao nodded slightly. Great. Du Jiaojiao hooked her arm into Du Jiaojiao's. Let's go quickly then. And Yang followed behind them, and the three walked toward the rose field together. After a few steps, and Yang looked back at Wu Yenyun. The rose field ahead is really beautiful. Are you sure you don't want to see it? No. Wu Yenyun shook her head. She hadn't expected things to suddenly turn out this way. She wanted to go with them too, but she had spoken too hastily. If she changed her mind now, wouldn't it be too obvious? Wu Yenyun insisted on not going, so Yang didn't press further. The trio quickly reached the rose field. Yang, holding the camera, said, Big brother Du, Sister Jiaojiao, shall I take a picture of both of you together? Sure. Du Jiaojiao exclaimed excitedly, still hooked on Du Jiaojiao's arm and struck a pose. Yang took quite a few shots, Du Jiaojiao like a tireless character from a story, keep changing poses and even picked a large bunch of roses. After a while, Du Jiaojiao was finally satisfied and passed the camera to Du Jiaojiao. Now it's your turn to take a joint photo of us. Du Jiaojiao nodded slightly. Du Jiaojiao then pulled Yang in for more pictures. After a while, Du Jiaojiao set the camera to automatic shooting mode and said, This sort of opportunity is rare, so let's take a joint photo of the three of us. She didn't wait for Du Jiaojiao to agree. She fixed the camera in place, pulled Yang, and hurried to Du Jiaojiao's side. Hurry. I only set it for 70 seconds. With a click, the camera captured the moment forever. By the time they returned from taking photos, it was already after 1 in the afternoon. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Do you want another slap? _4. Du Yi and Zhao Zhao didn't stay long, merely greeting the Ni family elders before leaving. After they left, Wu Yenyun found Yang. Yang, sister. What's up? Yang glanced back slightly. Wu Yenyun hesitated. I'm just curious. What's that Mr. Dust's name? How do you know him? And Yang didn't give it much thought. His name is Du Chengfeng, and he's a good brother of Brother Mo. Oh, I see. Wu Yenyun nodded. Chengfeng. So his name was Du Chengfeng, a name quite poetic and fitting to his demeanor. Time flew by quickly, and soon it was time for Yang to report to Yihua University. Mo Qishan also returned just in time for the start of the term. On the day of school, Elder Zhang indeed intended to buy a truckload of firecrackers to fulfill a promise, but Yang stopped him. Buying a truckload of firecrackers would not only be a waste of money but also pollute the environment. On the first day of school, Mo Qishan drove Yang to the campus. Since Yang was the national top scholar in sciences, Yihua University had even hung a banner over the campus gate. Yihua University's acquisition of the national top scholar in sciences had left other universities green with envy. Just yesterday, officials from other universities visited Jinghua village, hoping to poach Yang. To show their appreciation for Yang, the university leaders personally stood at the gate to welcome her. Hello, principal. Hello, teachers. Yang walked up with Mo Qishan. Hello, Yang. The principal extended his hand to Yang and looked at Mo Qishan. And this is? Yang said, This is my boyfriend, Mo Qishan. Boyfriend? Yang had a boyfriend? The top scholar in sciences had a boyfriend. Shock was evident in the eyes of the principal and other university leaders. In their eyes, good students should be busy studying, not falling in love. Well, as long as her academic performance is good, nothing else would be surprising. After all, this was university, and having a relationship was hardly a big deal. Mo Qishan was also stunned. Being acknowledged as her boyfriend felt amazing. He had even been prepared to be referred to as Yang's brother. He didn't expect to be publicly acknowledged. By the time they reached the girls' dormitory building, Mo Qishan was still dazed. Brother Mo, what's wrong? Are you feeling unwell? Yang tugged at Mo Qishan's sleeve. It's nothing. Mo Qishan clasped Yang's hand tightly. I'm just too happy. Happy? Happy about what? Yang slightly raised an eyebrow. This man was so strange. Just at the beginning of the term, with students bustling around the entrance of the girls' dormitory, Mo Qishan, already tall and wearing a crisp suit, stood out with his sharp features and an imperial aura, intimidating yet imposing, clearly a high-ranking elite, making him far more appealing than any college boy, as girls passing by couldn't help but stare. He's so handsome. If he were my boyfriend, I'd probably wake up laughing from my dreams. Get real. Look at who's standing next to him. That's our university's national top scorer. Truly a match of equals in looks and talent. Yang's room was on the third floor. Mo Qishan carried the suitcase on one shoulder and held Yang's hand as they went upstairs. The dormitory was a standard room for 6, with beds above and space for desks and other stuff below. At that moment, there wasn't anyone else in the room. The bed by the window on the left was already taken, and there were belongings underneath, likely from a student who had arrived earlier because of the distance. Yang, which bed do you want? This one. Yang pointed at the first bed by the window on the right. Okay. Mo Qishan nodded and began to make the bed. Despite never doing housework at home, Mo Qishan was adept at making beds. In no time, he had finished making the bed without Yang even getting a chance to help. Truly a boyfriend attentive as one could be. Yang placed a vase she brought from home on the desk, then inserted fresh roses into it. After setting up the dorm, and seeing that the other 5 roommates hadn't shown up yet, Yang and Mo Qishan headed off campus to grab a bite. The 80s also had military training. The training lasted for a month, meaning after today, Mo Qishan wouldn't see Yang for a month. After dinner, Mo Qishan and Yang went to watch a movie, and it wasn't until after 6 p.m. that Yang returned to the dormitory. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Do you want another slap? _5 At that time, two people had already arrived in the dorm. One was called Li Huilan, and the other was called Zhang Qiuying. And Ai Yang took out the gifts she had prepared in advance and distributed them to the two. Because it was their first meeting and she didn't want to burden her roommates psychologically, and Ai Yang had not prepared anything too expensive. The gifts were a box of delicate pastries. Thank you, and Ai Yang. Li Huilan and Zhang Qiuying smiled and thanked her. Actually, Li Huilan and Zhang Qiuying had known that a top national scholar would be coming to the dorm, but what they hadn't expected was that this scholar would be so warm-hearted, which was not at all what they had imagined. No problem. By the way, and Ai Yang, I also have something for you. Li Huilan took out a handful of red dates from her bag. These are specialty products from my hometown, and I've already cleaned them. Don't despise them. Li Huilan came from a rural area and was dressed very simply, her Mandarin tinged with a local accent. And Ai Yang took the red dates with both hands, smiling. Red dates are great. Not only do they enrich the blood and improve qi, they also beautify the skin. I love eating red dates. Upon finishing speaking, and Ai Yang tasted a red date. How does it taste? Li Huilan asked. Very sweet. And Ai Yang nodded. Thank you, Huilan. You're welcome. Seeing the new roommate liked her gift, Li Huilan felt relieved. Li Huilan was the only college student from her village. On the day she left for Beijing, all the villagers, old and young, had come out to see her off at the edge of the village. On the way there, she was full of confidence, but after arriving in Beijing, she realized how insignificant she was, especially at Yihua University where everyone had high scores. Her score of 620 was nothing special here. Adding to that, the meeting gifts from Ai Yang and Zhang Qiuying were quite expensive, which made Li Huilan feel somewhat inferior and embarrassed about her red dates. Unexpectedly, neither Ai Yang nor Zhang Qiuying despised her. Zhang Qiuying also took out a gift and handed it to Ai Yang. Zhang Qiuying came from Yanjiao. Her family conditions were excellent, often traveling abroad. So the gift she gave was a silk scarf with Chanel letters on it. It was a famous luxury brand in the future. And Ai Yang smiled and thanked her. After a while, the remaining 3 roommates also arrived. These 3 roommates were called Wang Lixia, Li Muzi, and Zhou Ling, and Ai Yang passed the pastries to the 3 of them. Li Muzi and Zhou Ling happily accepted. Wang Lixia refused. Sorry, I have a toothache and can't eat sweets. You keep it for yourself. And Ai Yang was never one to chase after those indifferent, and seeing Wang Lixia was somewhat difficult to get along with, she took back the pastry. Anyway, she wasn't planning to stay long in the dormitory. Regarding this issue, she had already discussed it with the principal before coming to Yihua University. She had attended college in her previous life and now also had a business to look after. Naturally, she wouldn't waste time at school. Attending examinations on time was enough, though she still had to participate in military training to avoid being criticized for seeking special treatment. Wang Lixia, these red dates are a special product from our place. Would you like to try some? Don't worry, I've cleaned them. Li Huilan offered the red dates to Wang Lixia. Wang Lixia glanced at Li Huilan. Could you please straighten your tongue and talk to me properly? After saying this, Wang Lixia also muttered under her breath, Country bumpkin. Li Huilan's face turned red, her hands stiff with embarrassment while still holding the red dates. Zhang Qiuying had a hot temper and immediately retorted, Huilan, these are great red dates. Money can't even buy them. Why waste them on a dog? Who are you calling a dog? Wang Lixia's face reddened in anger. Zhang Qiuying smiled. Whoever bites senselessly is the dog. No manners. Wang Lixia was so angry her chest heaved. Zhang Qiuying, linking arms with Li Huilan, said, Let's go, Huilan. Let's eat our dates and not stoop to a dog's level. You, say that again. Wang Lixia charged up to them. Zhang Qiuying was not one to shy away from conflicts. Why not say it again? Some people seem decent, but they're worse than dogs. Wang Lixia was furious. Back home, she had always been the precious daughter, pampered by her parents. At school, she was the top student, adored by teachers and students alike. She didn't expect to face such humiliation on her first day in Beijing. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Do you want another slap? _6. Wang Lisha's blood pressure shot up to 180, and she raised her hand to slap Zhang Qiuying across the face. At that moment, a fair hand gently gripped her wrist. Looking up, Wang Lisha saw the face of the national top scorer. She knew Ni Yang all too well. It was Ni Yang who had shattered her myth. Had it not been for Ni Yang, she would have been the highest female scorer in the National University entrance exam. Ni Yang's emergence let her parents and classmates realize that there were even more outstanding female students in the world than her. Let go of me. Ni Yang held Wang Lisha's wrist firmly, looking down at her with a calm yet resonant voice. Wang Lisha, this is Yihua University, not your home. You need to watch your words and actions and consider the consequences. Have you thought about the consequences of slapping her? According to the rules of Yihua University, assaulting or insulting a fellow student not only leads to a major demerit, but also to severe cases, expulsion. During the 80s, unlike future decades, university rules were strict, focusing on unity and friendly relations among students. Hearing this, Wang Lisha's brow twitched. She indeed had been a bit impulsive. From the perspective of Zhang Qiuying and Li Huilan, Ni Yang looked incredibly cool in that posture. She sounded just like an elder reprimanding a disobedient younger relative. Oh my! The national top scorer was really something. So imposing. And so, the conflict was resolved by Ni Yang. The next day marked the start of a 1-month military training. Military training in the 80s was different from later years. There weren't any camouflage uniforms back then, so everyone wore their own clothes, though they tried to keep a uniform color. The content of the military training was also different from later times, including necessary military postures, appearance, discipline, and bearing, but also training in digging trenches, bomb shelters, outdoor cooking, live ammunition firing, grenade throwing practice, and battlefield first aid, which weren't part of later military training. After a month, many students had become tanner and thinner, showing signs of exhaustion. But Ni Yang showed no changes, remaining fair as snow, elegant in demeanor, as if the grueling month hadn't left any mark on her. Zhang Qiuying exclaimed enviously, Yang, your skin is just too good. You're still not tanned at all. Ni Yang smiled and replied, maybe it's because I choose good skincare products. She never forgot to promote Ice Skin Jade Beauty wherever she went. What brand of skincare products are you using? Zhang Qiuying was straightforward and hadn't noticed what Ni Yang was using. Hearing this, Wang Lisha, who had been about to leave, suddenly slowed her steps, listening intently to Ni Yang's response. Even though she didn't like Ni Yang much, what girl doesn't want to be beautiful? After a month of military training, her face had turned as dark as charcoal, and she feared even her parents wouldn't recognize her when she returned. Noticing Wang Lisha's subtle reaction, Ni Yang continued, I use Ice Skin Jade Beauty. Their whitening moisturizer is really good. Really? Asked Zhang Qiuying. MHM. Ni Yang nodded, then added, but Ice Skin Jade Bowtice Whitening Moisturizer is a limited product and usually hard to get. If you like it, I can bring some for you. Oh yes, please do, Yang. And how much is it? Zhang Qiuying eagerly nodded. Wang Lisha's lips curled into a sneer, her smile full of mockery. Hard to get? There was nothing in the world she couldn't buy. What was Ni Yang acting so grandiose about? Did she actually think she was awesome just because she was the national top scorer? Wang Lisha really despised those who, proud and arrogant from their achievements, thought the world couldn't go on without them. How hilarious! A month of military training ended, and the temperature in Beijing had dropped a lot too. Overnight, the temperature plummeted, and the streets were covered in a layer of frost. Ni Yang had forgotten to prepare her coat, but luckily, she was tough enough to withstand the cold. Just as she walked out of the school gate, she saw Mo Qishan leaning against the car door. Ni Yang walked around from behind and quietly covered Mo Qishan's eyes, deliberately changing her tone. Guess who I am? Mo Chishan turned around and pulled her into his arms, wrapping her with his coat. His coat was very large and wide, carrying a burning warmth. It could wrap at least more than 2 Yangs. Why are you wearing so little? Mo Chishan's tone was deep. I forgot to take my coat. Yang stretched her arms around his waist, her icy hands contrasting starkly with the warmth of his body. Mo Chishan reproached himself. It's my fault. I should have checked more carefully. Shortly after, both of them sat inside the car. Brother Mo, how did you know it was me just now? Yang's imitated voice was incredibly accurate, indiscernible to most. Mo Chishan said seriously, because you are my wife. If I couldn't even recognize my own wife, would I still deserve to be your man? TSK, TSK, TSK. Yang poked his face. Mr. Mo, is your face still there? As long as my wife is still here, that's enough. Then Mo Chishan added, right, Sister Xiaoxi is bringing her boyfriend home tonight. We should head back early. Though Mo Chishan was several years older than Shangguan Shi, calling her sister came so naturally to him. Hearing this, Yang expressed her surprise. Sister Xiaoxi has a boyfriend? When did this happen? How come I didn't know? Shangguan Shi was a person of calm temperament. She would absolutely not bring a boyfriend home until everything was finalized. Mo Chishan slightly parted his lips, smiling. I'm not very clear on the details. Then you should drive faster. Maybe Sister Xiaoxi and her boyfriend are already home. Yang urged. Just give me a kiss, and he'll speed up. Mo Chishan, hands on the steering wheel, fixed his gaze ahead, his chiseled features seeming frosted over, truly appearing noble and aloof, yet his words were so playful. Who would believe that the mysterious Mr. Mogg had such a side if they hadn't seen it themselves? Yang leaned over and kissed his cheek. Who knew Mo Chishan would push his luck? One kiss isn't enough. Give me another. Yang indulged his small wish and kissed him again. With her soft lips pressed against his face, Mo Chishan's vanity swelled to its peak. Proud of how well he had trained his wife to be so obedient, which man could match his skills? He was truly incredible. Mo Chishan with a triumphant look. Still not enough. One more. Yang with a smile. Do you want me to slap you instead? Mo Chishan's brow twitched, and he immediately sped up, showing his cowardice. Wife, I was wrong. The car sped swiftly, and in about half an hour, they arrived at the Ni family's courtyard. When Mo Chishan and Yang got home, Shangguan Shi and the others hadn't returned yet, but the living room was already full of people. Shangguan Furong, Shangguan Su, and Su Lian had all come. After all, it was the first time Shangguan Shi was bringing a boyfriend home, and they needed to check him out. After all, this was a significant event in life. Curious, Yang asked Grandma Shangguan, Grandma, who is Sister Xiaoxi's boyfriend? Do you know? Grandma Shangguan shook her head. The child just said she would bring her boyfriend home today, but she wouldn't say who. Don't worry, Yang. I reckon they should arrive soon. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Astonishing results. Shangguan Shi talked about having a boyfriend, and it really whet everyone's appetite. After a while, Shangguan Shi finally appeared with her boyfriend in front of everyone. The young man looked spirited and was carrying both big and small packages in his hands. Cui Hua stood up to take the items from him and smiled. You didn't have to bring anything, Shangguan Shi said. I told him not to buy anything, but he insisted. By the way, Zueling, this is my mom. Zueling politely said, Hello, Auntie. Upon hearing this, Kui Hua's smile froze for a moment. Then she quickly returned to normal. Hello. Shangguan Shi continued to introduce. This is my grandma. This is my maternal grandfather and grandmother. This is my dad. This is my aunt. This is my elder brother Shangguan Su. This is my younger sister Yang. This is my sister's boyfriend Mo Chishan. And this is my younger sister Yun. Zueling greeted everyone one by one. Hello everyone. I'm Zueling. the Zhua from left and Ling from ridge. Zhua Ling. When this name was clearly heard, not only did Ni Kuihua's face change slightly, but also the expressions of elder Madame Shangguan, Shangguan Dehui, and Shangguan Su. Who was Zhua Ling? Zhua Ling was the young man with 7 older sisters. But the Shangguan family members were quite dignified and, despite having opinions, did not show it. Elder Madame Shangguan took a sip of water, feeling quite uneasy. She had not expected Shangguan Shi to bring Zhua Ling back. Hadn't they broken up already? Please have a seat. And Tohua called Zhua Ling to sit down. Su Lian, unaware of the situation, was quite satisfied with Zhua Ling's appearance. How old are you this year, Xiaozhua? Zhua Ling politely said, Aunt, I'm 23 this year, and I was classmates with Xiaoxi. Su Lian nodded. I see. So you have started working as well? Zhua Ling replied, Yes, Aunt. I have been working for over a year now. I'm currently the workshop director at Morning Light Group, earning a monthly salary of 130 yuan. Having a decent job and being in a director position was Zhua Ling's greatest pride. Among over 50 classmates, Zhua Ling currently had the highest salary and the most prestigious position. Thus, he had the capital to feel proud, and he could sense that the Shangguan family members had a very favorable impression of him. Su Lian smiled and said, Very good, very good. Being only 23 years old and capable of handling the job of a workshop director was indeed commendable. Su Lian wasn't someone who cared too much about matching social status. She just wanted Shangguan Shi to be happy. Shangguan Furong joined in the conversation with a smile. Xiaozhua, where are you from? I'm from Beijing. Zhua Ling continued. I live right in the city center on Gillet Road. My parents are getting older, and I set aside 30 yuan from my salary every month to hire a nanny for them. Shangguan Furong nodded. You are a good child with filial piety. After chit-chatting for a while, it was time to eat. In the kitchen, Mrs. Zhang quietly tugged at elder Madame Shangguan's sleeve and whispered, That young man Zhua Ling seems quite nice. Why do you look a bit unhappy? Zhua Ling had thick eyebrows and large eyes, very energetic, and he was also distinctive-looking, which was why he had caught Shangguan Zai's eye. Elder Madame Shangguan sighed, glancing towards the door. Do you know who this Zhua Ling is? Who? Mrs. Zhang was baffled. Elder Madame Shangguan continued. He's Xiaoxi's ex-boyfriend, the one with 7 older sisters. What? Mrs. Zhang looked surprised. I thought they broke up? Why did she bring him back home? Elder Madame Shangguan frowned slightly. Who knows what Xiaoxi is thinking? Seeing Zhua Ling about to come into the kitchen to fetch dishes, Elder Madame Shangguan quickly added, We'll talk later. It's not good to let others overhear. All right? Mrs. Zhang nodded. Mo Qishan was followed into the kitchen by Zhua Ling brother. Zhua Ling tried to pat Mo Qishan on the shoulder but withdrew halfway because there was a significant height difference between them. Mo Qishan was nearly 1.9 meters tall, and he was just a bit taller than Shangguan Shi at 1.75 meters. Zhua Ling jogged to keep up with Mo Qishan's pace and whispered, I heard you've been dating Xiaoxi's younger sister for over a year. Is that right? Yes. Mo Qishan nodded slightly. That's correct. Based on Shangguan Zai's introduction, Mo Qishan currently did not have an official job. But whenever Zhua Ling saw Mo Qishan, he felt a wave of inexplicable inferiority and fear, constantly feeling less excellent than Mo Qishan. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Astonishing results _2. Aside from not being as good-looking as Mo Qishan, he had a higher education, better job, higher salary, and his family's conditions weren't bad either. What was there to feel inferior about? What was there to fear? Was it all just an illusion? Bro, I heard you don't have a formal job yet. How about I introduce you to work at our company? We are currently short of 2 general workers, and the salary and benefits are especially good. Although our company recruits based on academic credentials, with me around, you don't have to worry. The HR department will definitely consider my recommendation, and he'll have them arrange a more relaxed job for you. It was Zhua Ling's first time visiting, so naturally, He wanted to establish a good relationship. In this family, only he and Emochishin were outsiders. Therefore, the first person he wanted to win over was Emochishin. Emochishin didn't have formal employment, and if Zueling threw him an olive branch, Emochishin would surely grasp it tightly. Then, in the company, he would be Emochishin's supervisor, and Emochishin would be at his beck and call. Thanks for the offer, but no need. Emochishin politely declined. Zueling didn't expect Emochishin to actually turn him down, thinking to himself that this guy really aimed high. He had no notable education, yet he looked down on being a general worker. How did such a pretty future sister-in-law fall for someone like him? He himself was in such good standing but didn't have such romantic luck. Really strange. Zueling encouraged Emochishin. Bro, don't look at me now as the workshop supervisor. I also started from being a general worker and worked my way up step by step. As long as you're willing to put in the effort, I believe that one day you too can become a workshop supervisor or even a higher-ranking leader. Who could get fat on one breath? Emochishin politely smiled. Since Emochishin didn't continue the conversation, Zueling couldn't say much more, and the two entered the kitchen. Grandma, Granny, you've worked hard. Emochishin wasn't prone to jests in front of outsiders, but he was a sweet talker with his family, and with just a few words, he made both Grandma Shangguan and Granny Zhang very happy. Seeing this, Zueling frowned subtly. He was somewhat displeased with Emochishin's behavior. Wasn't a man supposed to be manly? What was this smooth talking all about? Aunt 6, no need for you to serve the dishes. You can go and rest with Xiaozhua, said Grandma Shangguan. Just as Zueling was about to respond, pleased with Grandma Shangguan's suggestion, he heard Emochishin say, It's okay, Granny. Well, do it. So, Zueling had no choice but to join Emochishin in serving the dishes. Dinner was lavish. Although the Shangguans lived in the countryside, the meal was better than what his family usually had, which surprised Zueling. It seemed the Shangguan family had prepared this especially to welcome him. During the meal, Zueling occasionally offered food to Shangguanxi. The two had been together for over 3 years, and Zueling was very familiar with Shangguanzai's tastes. Su Lian and Shangguan Furong noticed this detail and showed satisfaction in their eyes. After dinner and a little more sitting, Shangguanxi walked Zueling back. Just stepping out the door, Zueling noticed a small sedan parked at the doorstep and asked in surprise, Xiaoxi, whose car is that? Shangguanxi nonchalantly said, I think it's from the television station, because Shangguan Dehui had previously instructed her. During her school days, Shangguanxi had deliberately concealed her family background. No one knew she came from a wealthy household. Not even Zueling, the television station? Zueling was puzzled. Shangguanxi continued, Didn't my sister top the high school exams this year? That car belongs to a journalist who came to interview her. But something broke and it can't start, so it's been parked here. In a few days, the station will send someone to tow it away. High school exam top scorer. Zueling was even more surprised. Your sister is the top scorer for the high school exams. Yes, nodded Shangguanxi. Then your sister really lacks judgment, having such a boyfriend as a high school exam top scorer, Zueling said. Didn't she become foolish from reading too much? What of being a high school exam top scorer? After all, she chose a boyfriend with neither education nor a job. That showed high school exam top scorers were nothing special after all. Shangguanxi replied with a serious face, Don't talk nonsense. Yang Yang is the smartest person in our family. Moreover, if my sister chose Emochishin, he must have something exceptional about him. And I also think Emochishin is much more than he seems. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Astonishing results _3. Alright, they'll stop talking, Zueling said with a playful smile, hugging Shangguanzai's shoulders. A smart boyfriend would never argue with his girlfriend. He just needed to be clear in his heart. That's more like it, Shangguanxi responded. Okay, you should head back now. They'll see you at work tomorrow. Zueling hopped onto his bicycle. Then I'll be going first. Shangguanxi watched as Zueling's figure disappeared into the night, then turned and walked into the house. Grandma, Grandpa, Grandma, Mom and Dad, little aunt, great aunt. What did you think of my boyfriend at first impression? Not very good. The old Mrs. Shangguan put down her chopsticks. Xiaoxi, didn't you say you broke up with Zueling? Hearing the news of her breakup with Zueling had been a relief for old Mrs. Shangguan. However, Shangguanxi brought him back in no time. We did break up before, but Zueling kept begging me. So She and Zueling had been together for 3 years. It wasn't something that could simply be dropped. Plus, Zueling himself didn't have any shortcomings, and they were each other's first love. Old Mrs. Shangguan continued. I think you two should end it sooner rather than later. Mom, I think this young man Zueling is quite good. Shangguan Furong joined in. Su Lian said, You don't like Zueling? I also think Zueling is quite good. Old Mrs. Shangguan sighed. Actually, I'm not the kind of person who cares about families being well-matched, but your great aunt. Do you know what Zueling's family situation is? Zueling has 7 older sisters. His parents are almost as old as I am. She continued, Nowadays, family planning is so strict. Workers can only have 1 child. What if Xiaoxi marries into their family and the first child is a daughter? Would Zueling's family let it go? The fact that Zueling's mother had given birth to 8 children proved she was no gentle character. Ordinary women who could give birth to 8. Hearing this, Su Lian's smile stiffened. Shangguan Furong's expression also changed as she turned to look at Shangguanxi. Xiaoxi, your grandma is right. You can't marry into such a family. It's hard to find a 2-legged frog in this world. But men with 2 legs are everywhere. With your qualifications, what kind of man can't you find? Why fixate on Zueling? Su Lian nodded. Yes, Xiaoxi. I also think your little aunt is right. Su Fin had passed away early. Raised by Su Lian because Shangguanxi and Shangguanxi couldn't find her. As an aunt, she didn't want Shangguanxi to marry into such a complicated family. Marriage and dating were not the same. Marriage faced many more practical issues. Shangguanxi indignantly said, Grandma, little aunt, great aunt, you are thinking too far. We aren't even married yet, and you're already thinking about children. Moreover, the person who had 8 children isn't Zueling. Zueling is just the child who was born. He didn't choose his birth, and just because his parents favor boys over girls doesn't mean Zueling is the same way. Shangguanxi was a reasonable person. She felt it wasn't fair to impose the problems of Zueling's parents on Zueling. Not only do your grandma and they disagree, your mom and I disagree as well, Shangguan Dehui timely stated. Xiaoxi, you can date Zueling, but you can't regard him as your marriage partner. Some people might be qualified boyfriends, but that didn't necessarily make them qualified marriage partners. Shangguan Dehui was a university professor after all. He saw things more clearly than most and was much more forward-thinking. It was the 80s after all. Breakups and makeups were normal. Why? Shangguanxi frowned slightly. The great man once said, All dating that doesn't aim for marriage is hooliganism. Your thinking is wrong. How could one treat dating as child's play? Shangguan Dehui continued, I disagree not just because of his family issues. This young man, Zueling, is too impetuous, lacks stability, and his words reveal a self-satisfied tone. I think the 2 of you aren't suitable. For instance, just now, Su Lian only asked whether Zueling had started working, but Zueling went on to clearly state his position and monthly salary. Moreover, when Shangguan Furong asked where his family lived, he even mentioned hiring a nanny. Dad, you are too prejudiced against Zueling. Shangguanxi continued. I've known Zueling for over 3 years. I know what kind of person he is. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Astonishing results _4. Sister Xiaoxi, don't get agitated. Actually, I think Dad makes a lot of sense, Shangguanxi began. Zueling really isn't suitable for you. Grandpa, Grandma, what do you think? Shangguan she looked towards Elder Zheng and Madame Zheng. Madame Zheng smiled and said, Sister Xiaoxi, your grandmother and I share the same view. When a girl gets married, she has to keep her eyes wide open. Besides, Zuoling's parents are also getting on in years. What if you really ended up with Zuoling? Who would look after your children? His parents even need a nanny to take care of themselves. I can hire another nanny, Shangguan she argued. Madame Zheng smiled and said, when the child is too young to speak, would you really be comfortable leaving them in someone else's care? Moreover, what if you have a daughter and your in-laws don't like her and secretly dispose of the child? What will you do then? That won't happen. She would be their own granddaughter. It will. And Ai Zuohua stepped forward and said, you'll find all sorts of people in this world, especially people like Zuoling's parents who favor sons over daughters. It was then that Shangguan she realized that Ai Zuohua had already lost 3 children. Mom is right. Ai Yang chimed in at the right moment. Sister Xiaoxi, medical research has proven that the sex of a baby is actually determined by the male side. Human sex chromosomes determine the gender, with males being XY and females XX. The cells produced by women all contain an X, while those produced by men could be X or Y. If both cells are X, then a girl is born. If the male contributes a Y, then a boy is born. At this point, Ai Yang paused, then continued, Zuoling's family has the genes for having daughters, so there's a 90% chance that your first child would be a girl. This means you should be prepared for the 90% likelihood of your child being discarded. Ai Yang was not one to mince words, so what she said always hit hard. Shangguan she hesitated for a moment, then said, Yang, do you believe this too? How can you be so certain that Zuoling's parents will definitely favor boys over girls? Maybe they just like having lots of children? After all, Shangguan Zai's experience was too limited to fully understand these things. You can tell just from her having given birth to 7 girls. Ai Yang continued, Sister Xiaoxi, medically speaking, pain is classified into 12 levels. The first level is the pain from a mosquito bite, and the 12th level is the pain of a mother during childbirth. Plus, giving birth is really harmful to the body. The best state for a woman is to give birth to 1 or 2 children. Who would joke about their own health without some kind of strong belief? Ai Yang's words were so logical that they left no room for rebuttal. Shangguan she fell silent for a bit, then said, I feel that Zuoling is not that kind of person. In marrying Zuoling, not his parents. Even if his parents truly favor sons over daughters, it has nothing to do with us. Once a son is married off, could the parents still be trying to meddle? Ai Yang did not rush to contradict Shangguan Shi but said, Sister Xiaoxi, don't reveal our family's situation to Zuoling for now. Just observe him for a while longer and see if his character is worthy of your lifetime commitment. If he truly is worthy, I believe our family will have no objections to you. With that, Ai Yang turned her eyes to Shangguan Shi. Sister Xiaoxi, Dad, Mom, Grandma, Grandpa, Aunt, and your brothers object to this matter purely because they want you to have a better life. Hearing this, everyone nodded in agreement, especially Su Lian, who now looked at Ai Yang differently. Previously, when Ai Zuohua had just married Shangguan Dehui, she had worried about whether Ai Yang and Shangguan she could get along well, since the children were grown and had their own ideas. Now it seemed that her worries were unfounded. Although Ai Yang was a few years younger than Shangguan Shi, her maturity was far greater. The words she spoke were persuasive. As an elder, Su Lian found nothing to fault in what she said. And moreover, Ai Yang had Shangguan Zai's best interests at heart with every word. Yang, I didn't just meet Zuoling today. I know what kind of person he is, Shangguan she said firmly. Ai Yang smiled and responded, that remains to be seen. A fox's tail doesn't show itself in a day. True gold fears no fire. Sister Xiaoxi, if Zuoling truly is a man worth entrusting your life to, then no matter how you observe him, you won't see any hint of a fox's tail. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Astonishing results _5. Su Lian nodded. I think Yang Yang is absolutely right. On the other side, Zueling rode his bicycle back home. Zu's father, unable to wait, asked, How did it go? Did Xiaoxi's parents have a good first impression of you? Do you even need to ask? Zu's mother, sitting on the sofa watching TV, scoffed. Our Lingling's credentials are so outstanding. You couldn't find a better son-in-law with a lantern. Could the Shangguan family possibly look down on us? Zu's parents were both retired factory workers, and they had been cadres at the factory, so their retirement benefits were extremely generous, with a pension of 300 yuan each month. Plus, owning 2 apartments in Beijing, life was particularly comfortable for them. Hearing this, Zu's father nodded in agreement. That's true. The mother continued, How are Xiaoxi's family conditions? Are they as good as your Uncle Chen's? Zueling shook his head. Uncle Chen is a city dweller, while Xiaoxi's family is from the countryside. There's no comparison. But Xiaoxi's family seems to be quite well off. I saw that they even have big appliances like a refrigerator and a washing machine, and their house is beautifully decorated. Refrigerators and washing machines together wouldn't cost less than a few thousand yuan. Could an ordinary family afford that? Don't even think about it. From the countryside? Zu's mother sat up in surprise. Xiaoxi is a rural person? Due to past experiences, Zu's mother got goosebumps at the mention of rural people. Their family was living so comfortably. They certainly didn't want to be visited by poor relatives looking for handouts every day. Xiaoxi is from Jinghua village. Zueling nodded. But you don't have to worry, Mom. Xiaoxi's relatives dress very decently, not like poor people, so you don't have to worry about people coming to our door asking for things. Zu's mother sighed. You, this child, how did you end up choosing a country person of all people? Mom, I love Xiaoxi. I really do. I hope you can agree to our relationship. Zueling continued. Mom, I promise you, Xiaoxi's family doesn't have that kind of poor relatives, and their conditions are really quite good. You see how long it's been since we've changed the carpet in our living room? The carpet in Xiaoxi's living room is not only brand new but also woolen. Zueling's feelings for Shangguan Shi were genuine. Otherwise, they wouldn't have had an on and off relationship. Zu's mother tapped Zueling on the forehead. You're just too naive. You might get cheated and end up counting someone else's money for them. Of course, her family wouldn't let go of a catch like you so easily. Are you sure the place you went to tonight was even Xiaoxi's home? Perhaps Shangguan Shi had planned it all along, and the place Zueling visited tonight wasn't her home at all. A rural person being able to afford a carpet. That's laughable. And didn't you say that Xiaoxi's mom isn't her birth mother, but a stepmother? Have you ever seen a stepmother who truly cares for her stepdaughter? If you really marry Xiaoxi, then you'll have troubles. That stepmother will steal a little today, a little tomorrow, and our family won't be able to live properly. Her son was only 23 years old and already earning over 100,000 yuan a month. You probably couldn't find a few like him in the whole of Beijing. If Shangguan Zai's family was a bit better off, that would be one thing, but now knowing that Shangguan Shi is just a country girl, she felt scornful, thinking that Shangguan Shi was after their family's wealth. Of course, a country girl would be happy to marry into the city. Isn't that just like a sparrow turning into a phoenix? Not at all. Zueling shook his head. I think Xiaoxi's stepmother is quite nice, not like someone who would steal things. You've just visited them today for the first time, of course. Shed put on an act. Once you're married, she will show her true colors. His mother continued. Lingling, listen to your mom. Xiaoxi is not worthy of you. I think the daughter of your Uncle Chen is quite good. Chen Liebao is Uncle Chen's only daughter. Eventually, the Chen family's fortune will be yours. Indeed, Chen Leibao's family's conditions were even better than Zua's. However, Chen Liebao looked like Zhu Beiji, not only with a big face and fat ears but also exceedingly rude and noisy when eating, just like a pig. Compared to Shangguan Shi, it was night and day. Zueling was at least a workshop director and also quite handsome. How could he possibly marry someone like that? It would be an utter joke. Though Shangguanzai's family wasn't as well off, she was good-looking and also a university student. Plus, their relationship was a love match. He would have face when bringing her out. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Astonishing results _6. No, I just like Xiaoxi, Zueling asserted stubbornly. Zu's mother sighed. You used to be such an obedient child. What has changed now? I know you don't find Lai Bao attractive, but haven't you heard the saying, beauty is a source of trouble? Being beautiful is not necessarily a good thing. King Zhou of Shang lost his kingdom because of Daji, Tang Xuanzong faced the Ensure rebellion because of Yang Yuhuan, and King Yu of Zhou was overthrown because of Bao Si. The words of the ancients contain profound wisdom. The saying beauty is a source of trouble is not without basis. At this point, Zu's mother paused and continued. Actually, women are all the same when the lights go out. There's nothing more to them, nothing less. Whether one is beautiful or not is just about looks. And besides, Lingling, you are destined for great things in the future. You can't let your heart be taken by youthful love, and you certainly can't let Xiaoxi hold you back. What you're lacking is a wise and virtuous wife, not a fairy who is above the mundane world. Lai Bao, that child, definitely looks like she's blessed with good fortune. Big head, big bottoms, surely someone who can bear sons. After you marry, you'll give me a fair and plump grandson. As she spoke, Zu's mother started to dream of a wonderful future. Her grandson. She gave birth to 8 children, all for the day she could hold her grandson in her arms. Zueling shook his head. No, Mom. Please stop talking. Just the thought of having to sleep next to a pig in the future makes me so nauseous that I won't be able to eat breakfast tomorrow. You child, his mother chided. How can you speak like that? How has Lai Bao disgusted you? I think she's very nice. Your Uncle Chun said that if you're willing to marry Lai Bao, not only will our family not have to pay a penny for the dowry, but we'll also get 5,000 yuan as part of her dowry. Can Xiaoxi's family offer 5,000 yuan for a dowry? I bet they can't even come up with 50 yuan. That's 5,000 yuan. Where could you find such a favorable marriage offer? But Zueling sneered at the 5,000 yuan, knowing that one can't have the best of both worlds. Even if Chun Leibao's family offered 50,000 yuan for the dowry, there's absolutely no way I'd marry a pig. Having said this, Zueling turned and walked away. Zu's mother was so infuriated by Zueling that she was more convinced than ever that Shangguan, she was the reincarnation of the millennial fox spirit Su Daji. Let it be, Zu's father said. Just don't meddle with the child's affairs. Nowadays, people value love marriages, and arranged marriages by parents are out of fashion. When Zu's father was at work, he held a lower position than Zu's mother, so she had always been in charge, which meant that at home, Zu's mother had the final say. Moreover, Zu's mother didn't have any preference for sons over daughters. The reason she had 8 children was to prove her worth, because a life without a son was considered incomplete. A daughter married off is like water splashed out. No matter how many daughters you have, they can't compare to having a son, Zu's mother continued. Our Lingling is too outstanding. Who knows how many girls out there have their eyes on him? I calculated everything but never expected Shangguan she to be from the countryside. If I had known she was from the countryside, I would never have agreed to it when Lingling first brought it up. That girl is too scheming, hiding her rural background and deceiving us for so long. She should have mentioned her rural background early on. What is this, if not deceit? Our Lingling is a dragon roaming the heavens, and she is just a sparrow that aspires to transform into a phoenix. It's too unsightly. So his father turned the page of the newspaper in his hand and replied, following his wife's thoughts. I also think Lai Bao is a decent child. The Chens are still young and can at least provide support for them for over a decade. If our Lingling marries Lai Bao and they have a chubby baby boy, the good days are still ahead. Meanwhile, at the Anai family's home, Anai Tsuehua and Shangguan Dehui were sitting on the bed, also talking about Shangguanxi. As a stepmother, there were some things Enai Tsuehua felt awkward to speak out directly. She could only convey her thoughts to Shangguan Dehue. Dehue, although Xiaoxi seems to have a mild temperament and doesn't usually show much temper, she actually has a rebellious streak deep inside. You have to talk to her about Zueling properly, but also don't push her too hard. Beware of the extreme rebound effect. Even though Shangguanxi wasn't born to Enai Tsuehua, through the days spent together, she had come to understand Shangguanzai's nature very well. Shangguan Dehue nodded. I know. Don't worry. Actually, Shangguanxi was very much like the late Su Fun. Su Fun had known that Shangguan Dehue had someone else in his heart, but she had still married him disregarding everything. Shangguanxi was also troubled, tossing and turning in bed, unable to sleep all night long. She couldn't figure it out. Zueling's qualifications were so outstanding, why couldn't her family see his worth? As a result, when Shangguanxi got up the next morning, 2 dark circles had formed under her eyes. Sister Xiaoxi, didn't sleep well last night? Enai Yang greeted her at the dining table. Shangguanxi nodded. Here, take this. Enai Yang fished a pink sugar pill from her pocket. What's this? Enai Yang said with a smile. It helps relieve fatigue and lighten dark circles. Hearing about the beneficial effects of the sugar pill, Shangguanxi immediately took it and swallowed. Thank you, Yang. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been presentable today. After a while, Enai Tsuehua came over with breakfast. At noon, Enai Yang received a phone call from the hospital. After hanging up, Enai Yang found Enai Tsuehua. Mom, I have something to tell you now. You need to be prepared emotionally. Is it about the paternity test? Enai Tsuehua asked. Yes. Enai Yang nodded. Mom, Yinyun is our second sister. Crash. The vase in Enai Kuihua's hand dropped to the floor, shattering, and with tears in her eyes, she said, Really? Is it true? It's true. Enai Yang hugged Enai Tsuehua. Mom, we found our second sister. We've found her. We've found her. Enai Tsuehua cried tears of joy. Although they had found the person, Enai Tsuehua was still faced with a dilemma, whether to acknowledge her or not. Currently, without acknowledgement, they still had a kinship with the Wu family. If they burst this bubble, what if they couldn't even remain relatives? After all, the Wu family had raised Wu Yenyun for 17 years, from a helpless little baby to a graceful young lady. No one knew how much heart and soul the Wu parents had poured into her. If they were to acknowledge her now, would the Wu parents forgive them? Would Wu Yenyun forgive them? In the evening, everyone gathered to discuss this issue. The elderly Mr. Zhang and Mrs. Zhang said, We definitely must acknowledge her. No matter what, that child is our Zhang family's blood. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Complete outbreak. Shangguan Lady and Shangguan Dehue also suggested making the recognition. After all, they were talking about her own flesh and blood. And besides, Enai Tsuehua had not intended to abandon Wu Yenyun in the first place. Yang, what do you think? Zheng Patriarch looked towards Enai Yang. Though young in age, Enai Yang was not lacking in experience, and her opinion was always sought in major family matters. Enai Yang said, Of course we need to recognize her. After all, Yinyun is also a member of our family. But this matter can't be rushed. It needs to be approached gradually. I'll first go and gauge Godfather's reaction to see what they say. Wu Yenyun may be of a gentle disposition, but that doesn't necessarily mean she could accept this. After all, there's a saying, some pains are never understood until they happen to oneself. The person who was abandoned was Wu Yenyun, and the person who was almost sold was also Wu Yenyun. That core bitterness can only truly be understood by someone who has personally experienced it. Zhang Patriarch nodded. Yang is right. Enai Yang continued. Let me handle this matter. You all wait at home for my news. With that, Enai Yang got up and walked outside. Yang, where are you going? Enai Tsuehua stood up. Enai Yang glanced back slightly, I'm heading to the construction site. I'll go with you. And Quihua's eyes reddened. No need for you to go. It's not appropriate for you to appear at a time like this. Shangguan Dehui held onto Enai Quihua's wrist. From an outsider's perspective, after all, Enai Tsuehua is the mother, and with the daughter having been abandoned, the mother bears an undeniable responsibility. Enai Yang nodded. Dad's right. I can go by myself. Enai Yang didn't go empty-handed. She took a basket of pork lard cakes and 2 bottles of milk tea along. Right as she walked out, she saw Emo Chishan riding his bicycle toward her. Where are you off to, wife? Emo Chishan stopped his bike in front of Enai Yang, propping one foot on the ground. His thin lips curved with a faint smile. The sunlight shone from behind him, brilliant and golden. Against the light, his face was somewhat obscured, and he appeared as if he had descended from the clouds. Emo brother. Enai Yang promptly brought herself to a halt. Emo Chishan parked his bike at the entrance, taking the items from Enai Yang's hands. Where to? I'll accompany you. To the construction site. It was roughly a 10-minute walk from the Enai family, and on the way, Enai Yang informed Emo Chishan about Wu Yenyun. Emo brother, we found our second sister who was abandoned. It is Wu Yenyun, right? Emo Chishan's expression was calm, his tone very certain. In fact, he had long realized, Enai Yang was clear about her affections and grudges. She wouldn't be nice to someone without a reason. After all, there are many poor people in this world, and if one were to extend a helping hand to each one, who would have so much energy? Awesome! Enai Yang extended her thumb to Emo Chishan. That's right, Emo Chishan said with false arrogance. If I weren't so impressive, would I have a beautiful wife like you? Your skin is too thick. As she spoke, Enai Yang continued, I'm going to discuss this matter with Godfather now. What do you think his reaction will be? Emo Chishan squinted his eyes. Our Godfather is an honest person, and you've helped his family so much. Though he may be surprised, I think he surely won't make things difficult for you. If it weren't for Enai Yang, Wu Yenyun would now have been sold off to the Wu family, and the whole Wu family would not be able to live the life they have today. Enai Yang nodded. I think your analysis is very accurate. Before long, they arrived at the construction site. Over 1 month had passed, and the construction site had changed considerably. The brick walls were already 2 levels high. Enai Yang and Emo Chishan distributed the pork lard cakes and milk tea to everyone. In this freezing weather, biting into a soft pork lard cake followed by a sip of warm milk tea warmed the heart and stomach. A most exquisite comfort. The workers had been at the construction site for so long and had never encountered such generous homeowners. Mo Chishan knew Enai Yang had something to say to Wu Jinshu, so he took some cigarettes and went to distribute them among the workers. Enai Yang, with food in hand, found Wu Jinshu. Yang, you really don't need to be so polite. We've already had our fill at lunch. With Enai Yang being so courteous, Wu Jinshu felt somewhat embarrassed. These days the Enai family nearly sent food over every afternoon, but sometimes it was Grandmother Zhang and Patriarch Zhang and Lady Shangguan who came. Enai Yang was busy and couldn't possibly come every day. Enai Yang smiled. Everyone's working hard, and the weather's so cold. Eating something is a good way to warm up. After speaking, Enai Yang added, Actually, Godfather, there's something else I need to talk to you about. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Total outbreak, _2. Hearing that Enai Yang had something to say, Wu Jinshu immediately put down his teacup, as he had never treated Enai Yang like a child. Yang, go ahead. Enai Yang continued, This is about Yenyun. Yenyun? Wu Jinshu asked anxiously, Yang, is that child causing you trouble? No. Enai Yang shook her head, getting straight to the point. Godfather, actually, Yenyun is my sister. Wu Jinshu smiled and said, Yenyun is already your sister, isn't she? Realizing Wu Jinshu might have misunderstood her, Enai Yang continued, Godfather, Yenyun is my full-blooded younger sister. What? Wu Jinshu was taken aback. full-blooded younger sister? Wu Jinshu looked at Yang and couldn't speak for a long while, not knowing what to say. Yang then spoke of the past. Godfather, it's like this. When Tsuehua gave birth to Wu Yenyun that year, Yang was only 1 year old. She didn't know what exactly happened, but when Mrs. Mu abandoned her 3 younger sisters and little Yang already had memories. At that time, Tsuehua simply had no ability to resist. If it weren't for the fact that the first child couldn't be abandoned, she too would not have escaped Mrs. Mu's clutches. Wu Yenyun had her own hardships, and Tsuehua had hers. Wu Jinshu's eyebrows were deeply furrowed as he listened to Yang. Were they intending to take Wu Yenyun back? The family was wealthy. Their conditions were much better than his family's. If Wu Yenyun could be acknowledged by Yang, she would be a young lady with a large fortune, and surely that would be better than staying with them. But Yenyun was, after all, the daughter they had raised with their own hands. He couldn't bear to let her go. He truly couldn't bear it. Yang seemed to perceive Wu Jinshu's thoughts and went on. Godfather, rest assured, I'm not here to take Yenyun away. It wasn't easy for you and Godmother to raise Yenyun to this age. The grace of upbringing is greater than heaven. No matter what, you are Yenyun's parents. Yang wasn't the kind of person without a conscience. The Wu family had raised Wu Yenyun for so long, it would not only be illogical to take her back now, but it would also be unfair to Wu Jinshu and Yen Erju, including Tsuehua. They had no intention of taking Wu Yenyun back. They just wanted to clarify things to Wu Yenyun and use the rest of their lives to make it up to her, so that neither of them would have regrets in their lives. Then, Wu Jinshu started, his mouth agape. If the family didn't want to take Wu Yenyun back, then why had Yang told him all this? Yang continued, Godfather, if you don't mind, let Yenyun also acknowledge my parents as godparents. From now on, our 2 families will be even closer relatives. After much thought, this seemed like the most appropriate solution. Upon hearing this, Wu Jinshu breathed a sigh of relief. Yang, I can't decide this alone. I need to go back and discuss this with your godmother, and then see what Yenyun thinks. Yes, that's only proper. Yang nodded, standing up and dusting herself off. I'll head back first, godfather. All right. Wu Jinshu stood to see Yang off. Although Wu Jinshu wasn't well educated, he understood the ways of the world. The reason Yang hadn't gone directly to Wu Yenyun, but instead had come to him, was out of respect for him. It showed that he, as her godfather, mattered to Yang. If it had been someone without conscience, they could have just pushed him, the foster father, aside. But Yang hadn't done that. Watching Yang walk away, Emochishin quickly jogged over. How did it go? What did our godfather say? Yang replied, It's just like you guessed. Godfather didn't make it difficult for me, but I don't know what Yenyun will think. Emochishin wrapped an arm around Yang's shoulders, his thin lips parting lightly. Do your best and let fate decide. As a sister, you've done well enough. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. Yang was only Wu Yenyun's sister. In other families, a sister simply couldn't do so much, especially since she wasn't the one who caused this mess, to begin with. Yang nodded. Let's hurry back. My parents and grandparents are still at home waiting for the result. Sure enough, as soon as they arrived home, Tsuehua and the rest were eager to ask Yang what Wu Jinshu had said. Yang shared, Mom, Dad, Grandma, Grandpa, don't be anxious. My godfather didn't make things difficult for me. He said that we'll need to wait for Yenyun's feelings on this matter, and we'll probably know the result by tomorrow. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Total outburst, _3. Tsuehua nodded, her eyes still red. Lady Shangguan said, I see that Yenyun is quite gentle and sensible. I think she will definitely understand you, Daya. Don't worry. Wu Yenyun seemed like a child with no temper, gentle and honest. Not the kind who would unreasonably stick to his guns. Lady Zhang agreed. I think my in-law is right. Wu Yinyun had visited the Ni family a few times, and now thinking back, Lady Zheng felt that Wu Yanyun's temperament was very much like Zheng Suyu's. On the other hand, Shangguan she had been preoccupied all day. Zuoling noticed her distraction and asked when they were returning to the dormitory after work, "Xiaoxi, what's wrong with you today? Are you feeling unwell?" Shangguan she smiled and said, "It's nothing." Thinking of her family's advice, Shangguan she added, "Zuoling, there's something I want to talk to you about. Go ahead." Shangguan she spotted a small restaurant on the roadside. "Let's go there and talk while we eat." "Okay." Zuoling nodded. The small restaurant was very simple. The two of them ordered 3 dishes and 1 soup for just 8 yuan. As they ate and talked, Shangguan she asked, "Zuoling, do you hope your future child is a boy or a girl?" When Shangguan she suddenly asked this, Zuoling was stunned for a moment. Then he smiled and said, "Boy or girl, I like both equally. Didn't the great man say that men and women are now equal?" Hearing this, Shangguan she breathed a sigh of relief. She knew Zuoling wasn't biased in favor of boys. "Xiaoxi, why would you suddenly ask that?" Zuoling looked up at Shangguan she. "Tell me, are you thinking about having children with me?" Cough, cough, cough. Shangguan she choked on her soup, tears streaming from her eyes. "Xiaoxi, are you all right?" Zuoling quickly stood up to pat her back. "Take it easy, no one's rushing you. I was startled by you, all right?" Shangguan she rolled her eyes at Zuoling, her face turning red. "Who said I want to have children with you?" Zuoling laughed. "If not with me, then who else would you want to have them with?" Shangguan she pushed him lightly, straightened her expression and said, "Zuoling, be serious. I'm talking about something important here." "Who says I'm not being serious? I am very serious and solemn." Zuoling continued, "Xiaoxi, we are not young anymore. I met your parents yesterday. When can we get our marriage certificate? Then we can have a bunch of kids." "A bunch?" Shangguan she widened her eyes. "Zuoling, family planning is so strict now, and you still want a bunch?" Zuoling slapped his forehead. Right, I forgot. I thought it was still my parents' era where you could have as many children you want." Shangguan she continued, "I have a question for you, and you must answer me honestly." "Aha." Zuoling nodded. "Ask away. I guarantee no secrets at all from you, or may lightning strike me dead." "Did my uncle and aunt have so many children because they preferred sons over daughters?" Shangguan she asked. "Of course not." Zuoling immediately denied. "Xiaoxi, why would you think that? My parents are leaders at the factory. They are educated people. How can their consciousness be so low? Rest assured, they absolutely aren't the type who prefer sons over daughters." Whether or not his parents favored sons over daughters, Zuoling, being their son, definitely knew it clearly. As a child, while his 7 sisters ate bran and swallowed vegetables, he alone ate white rice and fine flour, having a boiled egg every morning, his sisters not even dreaming of getting a piece of the eggshell. Moreover, all 7 of his sisters were illiterate. Only he graduated from university. Even now, those 7 sisters had to frequently subsidize the family. But how could he admit such a thing directly? Zuoling wasn't stupid. He and Shangguan Zai's relationship was at a critical juncture. What if this broke them up? He certainly didn't want to marry Chen Liebao. That pig. Really? Shangguan she pressed on. If uncle and aunt didn't prefer sons over daughters, then why did they have so many children? Zuoling laughed and said, "My dad was an only child and my mom had her and my aunt. Just 2 people. Seeing other families with many children always seemed very lively. My parents especially envied that. So, my mom gave birth to my 7 sisters and me. Actually, there was another younger sister after me, but when my mom was 8 months pregnant with her, she accidentally fell. Medical skills weren't advanced at that time, so the baby didn't survive, and my mom was very heartbroken. After that, she never conceived again. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible." Total outbreak _4. Zuoling made up the story about the past pregnancy. His goal was simply to make Shangguanxi believe him. After all, the Zhuo family had only moved to Beijing 20 years ago, and many old neighbors weren't clear about their old affairs. So even if Shangguanxi had the intention to inquire, she wouldn't find out anything. Shangguanxi nodded. "Oh, I see." Zuoling continued. "My mother still remembers my unborn sister to this day. Every year on Tomb Sweeping Day and the Cold Clothes Festival, she burns paper money for her. Xiaoxi, you must remember never to bring this up in front of my mother. I don't want to resurrect her grief." He knew Shangguanxi too well. She was simple and kind-hearted. Considering his mother, she would not ask his mother to verify this. I understand. Don't worry. I won't say anything." "That's good then." As the conversation ended, Shangguanxi added, "By the way, Zuoling, there's another thing I want to make clear to you." "Go ahead," Zuoling said with a smile. "I'm all ears." Shangguanxi said, "Nowadays, birth planning is so strict. If we were to get married in the future, regardless of whether our first child is a boy or a girl, I will not have a second child, and even your parents cannot interfere with our decision. If you agree, then we can continue our relationship. If you don't, then let's just end things here." Some things needed to be made clear in advance. Having been advised by her family, Shangguanxi didn't want to end up in an ugly dispute over such matters. This was absolutely unacceptable. Even though birth planning was strict, if one spouse could resign from work, not both being in employment would allow a second child. Besides, wasn't it a woman's duty to carry on the family line? Would a woman who couldn't bear children be brought home just to be revered like an ancestor? But of course, Zuoling would never speak these thoughts aloud. He was, for now, quite content to revere Shangguanxi like an honored ancestor. Shangguanxi was beautiful and well-educated, and they shared deep feelings. Zuoling did not want to part ways over the issue of children. People change. Shangguanxi, not yet married and still a young woman, was unaware of a woman's duties and mission. Perhaps after getting married, she would understand. By then, she might even be clamoring to have a second, third, or fourth child. Yes, that would definitely happen. Thinking this, Zuoling said with a smile, Yes, I'll listen to you. Xiaoxi, don't worry, in the future, whatever you say goes in our family. As for children, you can have as many as you want, and if you don't want any, then we won't have any at all." "Really?" Shangguanxi looked at Zuoling somewhat surprised, as she had not expected him to be so open-minded. Because her birth mother, Su Fon, had died in childbirth on the operating table, Shangguanxi harbored some fear of giving birth. "Zuoling, I'll just tell you the truth. My biological mother died from complications during childbirth, and I am actually quite afraid of giving birth," Shangguanxi continued. "And I've heard from Xiaolin in the workshop that giving birth is incredibly painful, and that during birth the child and feces might come out together." What had Xiaolin said at that time? Xiaolin said she lost all her dignity on the operating table. Ever since having a child, Xiaolin had become a different person, treating her own mother with special kindness and filial piety, because she had experienced the agony of childbirth. A woman only understands a mother's sacrifices and greatness once she becomes a mother herself. One only understands parental grace after raising children. Zuoling said with a smile, "Then let's not have children. By the way, Xiaoxi, what do your uncle and aunt, grandparents and grandmother think of me after yesterday?" He knew without asking that Shangguanxi's parents must have a very good impression of him. After all, finding a man like him in Beijing was incredibly difficult. Zuoling was very aware of Shangguanxi's family circumstances. Shangguanxi's father was just a teacher. How much could a teacher earn a month? At most 20 yuan? Not even as much as their family nanny maid. And her stepmother just ran a small business, the least prestigious occupation. If it weren't for his affection for Shangguanxi, he wouldn't consider marrying the daughter of a small business owner. Shangguanxi's brother worked at a bank, probably just doing menial tasks. As for that sister, except for being the top scorer in the college entrance exam, she was utterly useless. The sister's boyfriend didn't even have a proper job. He guessed that the total income of Shangguanzai's entire family might not be higher than his salary alone. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1000. Total Outbreak. _5. Not only is the income low, but there's also the need to support 3 elders and a child. What money could such a family have? When encountering a golden son-in-law like him, one must definitely hold on tight. In the entire family, only he has a monthly salary over 100. Zueling felt a full sense of superiority in his heart. Shangguan, she didn't have the heart to deflate Zueling's pride, and also wanted to leave a good impression of her family in his heart. She knew some things clearly herself and lightly said, "My parents have a particularly good impression of you, especially my aunt and my younger aunt. After you left, the 2 of them were still praising you." "Really?" Zueling asked. "Really?" Shangguan, she nodded. Zueling then said, "So, should we start discussing our wedding date now?" Shangguanzai's face flushed momentarily. This is not urgent. Xiaoxi, I'm already 23 this year. The 80s were not like later times. Back then, people advocated for early marriage and childbirth. Some college students were still studying when they had children, and there were some who attended college while having children. Someone like Shangguan, she was already considered an older youth. The most crucial issue was that Shangguan, she was somewhat traditional. Normally, Zueling couldn't even hold her hand, let alone other things. 23 is an age easily prone to impulsiveness. Shangguan, she continued, "You've met my parents, but I haven't met your uncle and aunt yet. I also don't know if your uncle and aunt are satisfied with me?" Zueling said with a smile. "You can rest assured about that, Xiaoxi. You're beautiful and well-educated. My parents will definitely be very satisfied with you. How about this? Let's set a time for you to visit my parents, and then arrange a day for the parents on both sides to meet." Shangguan, she nodded. That's possible. Having resolved the issue of having children, Shangguan, she felt much more relaxed. On the way to the dormitory, she even hummed the popular song, "Sweet Honey." No sooner had she returned to the dormitory than Shangguan, she found an additional message on her pager from home. Shangguan, she put on her coat again and went to a public telephone booth to call back home. The person who answered the phone was Ni Cuehua. Ni Cuehua was informing Shangguan she about Wu Yanyun's situation. Although Wu Yanyun and Shangguan, she weren't related by blood, they were now a family, and since it was a family matter, she should inform Shangguan she. It was the least form of respect. Shangguan, she was a sensible and good child and immediately said she would return home tomorrow. She was also very happy that Ni Cuehua was willing to tell her about this matter. Meanwhile, at the Wu family, Wu Jinshu did not tell Wu Yanyun about the situation immediately, but quietly spoke to Yen Erju about it. After hearing this, Yen Erju exclaimed in surprise, "Really?" Wu Jinshu nodded. "What kind of question is that? Would I joke about such a matter?" After saying this, he continued, "It's not only our Yanyun who was abandoned as a child, but also Yang Yang's 3rd and 4th sisters. However, we can't blame their mother for this." Yen Erju sighed after listening. "We really can't blame Yang Yang's mother for such a thing. Just look at your mother, and you'll understand. If it weren't for Yang Yang, wouldn't our Yanyun have been sold to the Wu family?" Upon mentioning this matter, Wu Jinshu bowed his head in shame. After they had moved here, Grandma Wu hadn't given up. After some inquiries, she and Wu Jinjin found this place. But on their way here, she had slipped and became a vegetable, still lying in the hospital to this date. Wu Jinjin was afraid of being responsible and hid himself away. As a son, Wu Jinshu had to take care of her, now bearing a medical expense of 20 yuan per month. Fortunately, the construction company was now making quite a bit of money each month, so this 20 yuan didn't exert too much pressure on them. Otherwise, life would really have been impossible to continue. Also fortunately, Grandma was fall made her a vegetable. Otherwise, who knows how much trouble she could have caused later on. She might even have taken this opportunity to fiercely extort a sum from the Ni family. Wu Jinshu knew it was wrong for a son to have such thoughts, but he couldn't help it. Whenever he thought of his mother's actions, he became very angry. Wu Jinshu then said, "When should we tell Yun about this matter? What do you think?" Yan Erju was unsure as well. At the same time, she was somewhat worried. After all, the Ni family's conditions were so good. What if Wu Yenyun didn't want them as his foster parents after knowing about this matter? If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1001 Total Outbreak _6 Wu Jinshu said, "What I mean is, since Yenyun will have to know about this sooner or later, we might as well tell her now. Isn't there a saying, a swift knife cuts through the mess? If Yenyun really chooses the Ni family and doesn't want us anymore, we can't stop her. After all, blood is thicker than water. No matter what choice Wu Yenyun made, Wu Jinshu would respect it. But out of selfishness, Wu Jinshu still hoped that Wu Yenyun wouldn't abandon them. Okay?" Yan Erju nodded and with a sigh said, "I'll go call Xiaoyun." Wu Yenyun now lived in a room by herself. When Yan Erju went to see her, she was revising her schoolwork. Her grades were good, but not top-notch. With Ni Yang as a shining example before her, she wanted to make a push as well to bring honor to her parents. "Xiaoyun, are you studying?" Yan Erju gently pushed the door open. "MHM. Wu Yenyun nodded. "Mom, is there something you needed from me?" Yan Erju smiled and said, "Xiaoyun, come with Mom for a moment. Your dad and I have something to tell you." "Okay." Wu Yenyun put down her pen and followed Yan Erju to the master bedroom. "Yenyun is here, have a seat." Wu Jinshu patted the sofa. Sensing something off about her parents' expressions, Wu Yenyun asked, "Mom, Dad, what is it you want to talk to me about? You seem so serious?" Wu Jinshu swallowed, carefully choosing his words in his mind. "It's not such a big deal. It's just, Yenyun, your mom and I want to talk to you about your origins. I think you should know that you are not our biological child." Upon hearing this, Wu Yanyun's eyes instantly reddened. "Mom, Dad, do you not want me anymore?" Ever since she knew about her origins, Wu Yanyun's mind had become sensitive. She feared that one day her parents might suddenly not want her. Hearing this, her heart leaped to her throat. "No, not at all." Wu Jinshu quickly shook his head to deny it. "Silly child, what are you talking about? Why would your mom and dad not want you? Your parents just want to talk to you about this matter." Yan Erju added, "Xiaoyun, you were raised by me, from diapers to potty training. How could I ever not want you? Don't worry, you will always be your father and mother's daughter." Wu Yenyun wiped her tears. "Then, why are you bringing up this issue all of a sudden? Something felt off about it all." Yan Erju sighed and continued, "Xiaoyun, your biological mother had no choice but to abandon you, and I hope you won't hold it against them." Wu Yenyun blinked, then said, "Have they come looking?" Yan Erju nodded, learning that her blood relatives had found her. Wu Yenyun couldn't describe what she was feeling. Her mind went blank. They didn't want her, did they? So why were they looking for her now? What kind of desperation had led them to give up their own flesh and blood? "Mom, you and Dad just ignore them." Wu Jinshu continued, "Yenyun, aren't you even a little bit curious who they are?" "I'm not curious. Besides, there wasn't anything to be curious about." Yan Erju said, "Xiaoyun, your biological mother really had her desperate reasons, and I hope you can forgive them." Wu Yenyun stayed silent. Yan Erju continued, "Xiaoyun, actually, Yang Yang is your sister, and Yang Yang's mom is your biological mother." At these words, Wu Yenyun felt as if something in her mind exploded with a bang. She never dreamed that Ni Tsuehua was her birth mother, that Ni Yang was her biological sister. She remembered the first time she saw Ni Yang. That day, Ni Yang wore a beautiful and tidy cheongsam, like a young miss from a wealthy family stepping out of a novel, observably untouchable. At the time, she wondered how there could be someone so beautiful in the world. Not only was she beautiful, but she also had such good fortune. Back then, she wore patchwork clothes, looking destitute like a beggar, struggling even for 3 meals a day. The first time she met Enai Tsuehua, the scene was much the same. Enai Tsuehua lived in a glittering, grand villa, surrounded by a cluster of servants. And she was dressed worse than the servants. Now, they had come to tell her that Enai Tsuehua was her birth mother. The irony of it all was just too much. Wu Yenyun couldn't accept it. She simply couldn't. No, Mom, you're lying to me. They're not. They're not. Wu Jinshu sighed. Yenyun, your mom isn't lying to you. Yang Yang really is your sister, and Yang Yang's mom is indeed your birth mother. Yenyun, our family's situation isn't as good as theirs. If you want to go to the Enai family, your mom and I won't stop you. After all, it wasn't Yang Yang's mom's intention to lose you. No, I won't go to their house. Dad, Mom, I am forever your daughter. I don't want to leave you. Wu Yenyun hugged Yen Erju tightly. Mom, don't send me away. Even if the Enai family owned mountains of gold and silver, she wouldn't go. Her home was here forever. Tears welled up in Yen Erju's eyes. How could your dad and I send you away? We won't. Knowing that Wu Yenyun didn't want to leave, Yen Erju also breathed a sigh of relief. Wu Jinshu continued. Xiaoyun, Yang Yang has already discussed with me. Why don't you just consider them as your godparents? That way you'll have an extra set of parents who care about you. Is this what Sister Yang Yang suggested? Wu Yenyun looked at Wu Jinshu. Wu Jinshu nodded. Yes. I disagree. Wu Yenyun flatly rejected. Although she had never thought of going back to the Enai family, she hadn't expected that the Enai family never even considered taking her back. Her refusal was one thing. Whether the Enai family acknowledged it was another. Were they afraid she would come back to claim the Enai family's inheritance? Ridiculous. She had ambition. She was determined to fight for what she wanted. Did she care about the Enai family's wealth? Why not? Wu Jinshu asked. Because I will never forgive them. Not in this lifetime, Wu Yenyun declared. Now Wu Yenyun had finally realized why Enai Yang had said those words to her before. Enai Yang must have known then that she was her sister. If she knew all along, why didn't she tell her sooner? Wu Yenyun suddenly felt a ludicrous sense of being toyed with, so all of this was premeditated. Xiaoyun, don't be like that. Actually, Yang Yang's mom was also helpless. It wasn't just you who got thrown away. Your third and fourth sisters were discarded too. Then why weren't Enai Yang and Enai Yun thrown away? Wu Yenyun retorted. Why was she the one discarded? As a mother, how could Enai Tsuehua not protect her own children? If she never wanted her to begin with, why give birth to her at all? Such injustice was truly unfair to her. Yen Erju continued. Because Yang Yang is the eldest child. There's a saying back in our hometown that the eldest must be well raised. What about Enai Yun then? Wu Yenyun pressed on. Yen Erju choked, then said, Yun Yun was also going to be thrown away. But fortunately, Yang Yang's mom and your biological father got divorced in time. Actually, Yang Yang's mom had it tough too. Then why couldn't they have divorced sooner? If they had divorced earlier, none of this would have happened. Wu Yenyun pressed on. Anyway, I can't forgive them. Mom and Dad, let's not have any more dealings with them from now on. I don't want to see anyone from their family ever again. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1002. Super protective. Wu Yenyun really couldn't forgive the Enai family. Whenever she thought about how she was the one discarded, she felt extremely uncomfortable, suffocated. A mix of complex emotions would come together, and she felt like she would explode. Yenyun, calm down a bit, Erju continued. Back then, women had no say in anything. You know about your grandmother's issue. If it weren't for Yang Yang, you would already be stepmothering someone else's children, you know? You can't be so heartless. Wu Yenyun looked at Erju and said, if they hadn't discarded me, I wouldn't have almost ended up as someone else's stepmother. At the end of the day, this whole thing was still the Ni family's fault. All the suffering she endured was caused by the Ni family. Wu Jinshu said, Yenyun, back then, when your grandmother wanted to marry you into the Wu family, your mom and I, we couldn't protect you, just like Yang Yang's mom faced the same situation as your mom and I did back then. Equally helpless, equally desperate. As parents, Wu Jinshu and Erju really understood Ni Tsuehua. Previously, as a bystander, Wu Yenyun, upon hearing Yang Yang reminisce about the past, could also understand Ni Tsuehua. But now, Wu Yenyun wasn't a bystander. She was the one who experienced it. No one knew what she had gone through over the years. She was only 18 this year, yet life's hardships had spared none on her. In the past, just to let her parents and 3 younger brothers have a bit more to eat, she often went hungry. In the winter, because she had no cotton shoes, her toes were nearly frostbitten. In her 2nd year of high school, she was forced to drop out due to lack of money. That same year, she nearly became someone's stepmother. Given a choice, she would rather have never experienced life on Earth. Mom, Dad, stop talking. I don't want to hear it. Wu Yenyun stood up, took a deep breath. That's it. I'm going back to my room. I will never set foot in the Ni family's house again. Wu Jinshu wanted to say more, but was held back by Erju, who whispered, she's furious right now. Let her calm down first. Okay. Wu Jinshu nodded. Before talking to Wu Yenyun about this matter, the couple had thought of many possible outcomes, but they had never expected this one. They hadn't anticipated that Wu Yenyun would get so angry, nor that she would start to hate the people of Ni family. What should I tell Yang Yang tomorrow? Wu Jinshu was somewhat troubled. Failing to resolve this matter, Wu Jinshu felt very guilty, especially since Yang Yang had helped their family out so much. There's no other way but to tell the truth, Erju said. We can't just force Yanyan's head down and make her acknowledge these relatives. Yenyun has been obedient all her life. It's just that she's struggling to accept this outcome right now. Maybe she'll come around after a few days. This is the only option left, Wu Jinshu said helplessly. Inside the house, Wu Yenyun sat at her desk, sobbing, nearly out of breath. The air felt oppressive and suffocating. A few days earlier, when she visited the Ni family, she saw little Ni Yun being adored by the whole family, truly treated like a gem held in the palms. Little Ni Yun's food and belongings were things she had never seen in her childhood. Especially the 3 old folks who spoiled little Ni Yun to the extreme, giving him whatever he wanted, even sterilizing his eating utensils with hot water. He's already nearly 3 years old and still drinking milk. And her? She didn't even have breast milk as a child. It was Erju who fed her rice water. Because of the lack of nutrition in rice water, her immune system was much weaker than her peers, making her prone to catching colds. Above, Yang Yang outshined her, becoming the national top scholar, basked in endless glory. Below, little Ni Yun lived a better life than hers. Even though they were sisters from the same mother, why did she taste all the bitterness of life while they lived so well? It was better not to think of these things, but when she did, she felt incredibly wronged, incredibly hurt. Why? Why was she the one discarded? What kind of mother doesn't raise her child? She wouldn't forgive them. Never would. The next day, early in the morning, Yang Yang was already waiting at the village entrance. In the early winter morning, a thick white fog filled the air. Visibility was barely 1 meter, and even Yang Yang, whose senses were extremely sharp, couldn't see through the heavy fog. After a long wait, she finally saw Wu Jinshu leading workers towards her. Godfather. Yang Yang. Wu Jinshu's face looked rather unpleasant. Yenyun she. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1003, Super Protection of Companions _2. Seeing the look on Wu Jinshu's face, Yang had already guessed the outcome of the matter. In fact, Yang had been mentally prepared for this. From the perspective of a child who had been abandoned, Yang could also understand Wu Yenyun. Godfather, does Yenyun not want to forgive us? Wu Jinshu succinctly relayed last night's events to Yang. He didn't go into details, just said that Wu Yenyun couldn't digest the fact for the time being, and was temporarily unwilling to acknowledge the relationship. Yang, I'm sorry. Don't worry, your godmother and I will try our best to persuade Yenyun. That child might just need some time to come around, Wu Jinshu said, believing that Wu Yenyun was just emotionally upset for now, since she had always been sensible from a young age. As long as she could understand this, it would be fine. Yang gave a faint smile. Godfather, you don't need to apologize. The ones who should apologize are us. We are the ones who wronged Yenyun. No matter how you put it, the one who had been abandoned was Wu Yenyun. It was normal for her to feel aggrieved and angry. After bidding farewell to Wu Jinshu, Yang returned home and recounted the situation to her family. Upon hearing the news, both Mr. and Mrs. Zhang, the elders, looked disappointed and put down the things in their hands. These were gifts they had prepared for Wu Yenyun, originally planning to visit the Wu family today. They hadn't expected Wu Yenyun to refuse to recognize them. Tsuehua sighed deeply, guiltily saying, "It is my fault. I owe that child an apology." Tsuehua felt deep remorse for the child she had not even held once after birth. In the past, she was the one who was useless, the one who failed to protect her own child. She hoped to use the rest of her life to make amends. That's why she had been working so hard, so insistently, to run the spicy strip factory and to make the food business bigger. Now that she had finally found her child, Tsuehua did not want to easily give up. She wanted to make amends to the children with her own ability. "We will go with you," said the elderly Mr. and Mrs. Zhang. Shangguan Dehui picked up his coat. "There's no class this morning at school. I will go with you as well." Yang spoke in a muted tone, trying to dissuade them. "Yenyun is angry right now. Going over will not only be unhelpful, but might even make things worse. Regardless, I still want to go see for myself," said Tsuehua, her voice already nearing hoarseness. What if Wu Yenyun accepted her apology? Tsuehua was determined to go, and Yang had no choice but to say, "Then go, but you must prepare yourself mentally." Tsuehua nodded. The elder Zhangs also took large and small packs of gifts and went with her, while Mrs. Shangguan stayed at home to take care of little Yun. Around 9 o'clock, Shangguan she came home. "Why is nobody at home? Grandma, where are my parents? And how is the situation with Yenyun? When are we planning the family reunion?" That would mean Wu Yenyun would be her third sister. From now on, their family would have one more member, and Shangguan she was quite happy about it. Mrs. Shangguan shook her head. "Don't even mention it. You wouldn't think Yenyun has such a temper, but she refuses to acknowledge us." From Mrs. Shangguan's point of view, Tsuehua and Yang had been good enough to Wu Yenyun. Yet Wu Yenyun seemed to be a bit unaware of her good fortune. "Not recognize? Why not? It's not my parents' fault." Shangguan she frowned slightly. "I remember Yenyun is 17 this year, right?" "Yes. She is 2 years younger than Yang." Mrs. Shangguan confirmed with a nod. Shangguan she continued, "I remember that around this time 2 years ago, Yang already had opened over 10 noodle restaurants and milk tea shops. If they really are sisters, there shouldn't be such a big difference." Being true sisters, Shangguan she couldn't help but compare Wu Yenyun with Yang. Others might not know about Yang's situation, but Shangguan she knew everything clearly. Everything Yang currently owned was earned by herself. She had never relied on anyone. This comparison made Wu Yenyun seem to pale in comparison. Mrs. Shangguan sighed. After all, she was abandoned since she was little. It's normal for her to have grievances in her heart. Perhaps she'll come around after thinking it over for a few days. "Let's hope so." Shangguan she shrugged her shoulders and stretched out her hand to little Yun. "Come little Yun, do you want a hug from your sister? If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1004. Super protective of one's close ones _3. Okay. Little Yun immediately reached out and hugged Shangguanzai's neck. Sister Xiaoxi, Yun missed you so much. Little Yun was at an age where she was sweet-tongued, charming everyone she saw, often bringing the family to laughter. As Shangguan she played with little Yun, she asked the Mu family's old lady about Wu Yanyun. So my parents have gone to Yanyan's home now? Emichum, the Mu family's old lady nodded. Yang told them not to go, but your mom couldn't wait any longer. She said she wanted to go and apologize to Yanyun in person. Did Yang go as well? Shangguan she questioned. Yang didn't go. She had things to do in the city. After saying this, the Mu family's old lady continued, don't just talk about them. What about you? How are things going with Zuoling? When are you two planning to break up? The Mu family's old lady dreamt of Shangguan she breaking up with Zuoling. Grandma, what nonsense are you talking about? Zuoling and I are doing great. How could we possibly break up? With such a complex family that favors sons over daughters, you'll regret it someday if you don't break up, the Mu family's old lady declared. Hearing this, Shangguan she smiled. Don't worry, Grandma. I have already figured out Zuoling's family situation. The reason Zuoling has 7 sisters is not because of preferring sons over daughters. It's because his parents like a bustling household, which led them to have several children. Besides, after Zuoling, his mother was pregnant again. Shangguan she truly trusted Zuoling, so she took his words as the absolute truth. How can you be sure Zuoling isn't deceiving you? The Mu family's old lady looked at Shangguan she. Only Shangguan she would believe such tall tales. How many women in this world would give birth to 8 children just because they like a bustling household? Shangguan she firmly said, no, Zuoling would never deceive me. The Mu family's old lady sighed again. Xiaoxi, you are too naive. Don't worry, Grandma. I promise you that Zuoling is not that kind of person. Moreover, Zuoling has assured me that if we really stay together, it doesn't matter whether it's a boy or a girl. We only want one child. Zuoling is also very open-minded and can even accept not having children. As she finished speaking, Shangguan she turned to little Yun. Yun, don't you think Sister Xiaoxi is right? Yes. Little Yun nodded vigorously in agreement. You little girl, what do you know? The Mu family's old lady said with a chuckle as she poked little Yun on the forehead. Little Yun earnestly replied, I know. I understand very well. The Mu family's old lady turned serious. Xiaoxi, if you don't trust me, you should at least trust Yang's judgment. Even Yang thinks that Zuoling is unreliable. Shangguan she nodded. I know, Grandma. Don't worry. I definitely won't be fooled by anyone. Meanwhile, at the Wu family, Yan Erju warmly welcomed Enai Tsuehua, Shangguan Dehui, and the elder Mr. and Mrs. Zheng. Uncle, Aunt, please have some tea. Yan Erju set the tea on the table. Brother-in-law and Ting, you have some too. Thank you, Sister Erju. Enai Tsuehua said with tears in her eyes. Sister Erju, may we see Yanyun? Yan Erju nodded. I'll go call her. Please wait a moment. Since the night before, Wu Yanyun had locked herself in her bedroom and had not come out. With the door locked from the inside, Yan Erju had no choice but to knock. Xiaoyun. She called out many times without a response. Sighing, Yan Erju spoke softly. Xiaoyun, why are you so stubborn? It wasn't Yang's mom who abandoned you. With such a mother-in-law, she had no choice. She's just as much a victim of fate as your mother. When your grandma wanted to sell you, I was powerless too. Have you forgotten all this? Just as Yan Erju was about to give up, the door opened. Wu Yanyun was no longer as agitated as the day before and spoke calmly. Mom, do you believe everything they say? Since the Mu family's old lady is already dead, there's no one left to verify the truth. They can say whatever they want. Yan Erju replied, Xiaoyun, it's not right to think like that. I don't think Yang Yang's mom is the kind of person who would lie. To abandon one's own child is nothing. What would lying be to her? Wu Yanyan's mouth twisted with sarcasm. She said I was abandoned by the Mu family's old lady. Well, I could also say she abused the Mu family's elderly. What couldn't a person who could abandon their own child be capable of doing? If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1005. Superprotective_4. What does abuse of the elderly amount to compared to abandoning a child? Yan Erju sighed. Xiaoyun, stop being so stubborn. If Yang Yang's mom really wanted to abandon you, she wouldn't come looking for you now. There's no mother in this world who doesn't love her child. Seeing Wu Yenyun like this made Yan Erju very anxious. Anai Yang's family had been so good to them, and she didn't want Wu Yenyun to hurt Anai Kuihua's feelings. They say spilled water cannot be regained. And indeed, hearts are the hardest to mend. Some things, once lost, can never be retrieved. On the other hand, Yan Erju also didn't want Wu Yenyun to do something she would regret. Love, Wu Yenyun retorted. How can she throw me away if she loves her child? Isn't it said that a mother should be strong? I think she doesn't deserve to be a mother. Yan Erju continued, Xiaoyun, calm down. Sit down peacefully and talk it out with Yang Yang's mom and listen to what they have to say. Can't you be a bit more flexible? Even if just for mom's sake? Mom did, after all, raise you for 18 years. Are you not even willing to listen to her now? Upon hearing this, Wu Yanyan's expression changed. She didn't want Yan Erju to worry about her anymore. I understand, Mom. Seeing this, Yan Erju breathed a sigh of relief. Then come with me to the living room now. Have they arrived? Wu Yenyun asked. Yes. Yan Erju nodded. Yang Yang's dad, Yang Yang's mom, and your grandparents are all here. Xiaoyun, be good, and don't say those hurtful things anymore. Wu Yenyun didn't respond and turned to walk to the living room. Yan Erju followed Wu Yanyan's steps. When Wu Yenyun emerged, Anai Kuihua's face tensed up. She didn't know what to say. Should she call her child? Or should she just call her by her name, Wu Yenyun? The table was piled with many gifts that Anai Tsuehua and others had brought. Wu Yenyun walked up to the table. With a sweep, she stretched out her hand and swept everything on the table onto the floor, pointing outside and yelling, Leave! Get out of here fast. We don't welcome you people in our home. No one expected Wu Yenyun to react like this, including Yan Erju, who thought Wu Yenyun had calmed down. Xiaoyun, what are you doing? Yan Erju hurried over and scolded loudly. What you are doing is very rude, don't you know? After speaking, Yan Erju immediately apologized to Anai Tsuehua. I'm sorry, Tingting. Xiaoyun didn't mean to. Before Anai Tsuehua could respond, Wu Yenyun picked a gift box from the floor and threw it at Anai Tsuehua. It was intentional. I did it on purpose. Leave. Take these things and get out of my house. Shangguan Dehui frowned slightly, wanting to reprimand Wu Yenyun, but considering Anai Kuihua's position, he suppressed his anger. If he had any blood relation with Wu Yenyun today, he wouldn't stand idly by. Anai Tsuehua was stunned, tears streaming down. Child, I'm sorry. It's my fault. I know you hate me. But I really didn't do it on purpose. I didn't mean to abandon you. It's just that I was too incapable. Leave. Get out now. More things were hurled at Anai Tsuehua and the Elder Zheng. A gift box corner hit Elder Zheng's forehead, instantly swelling up. What on earth is wrong with you? Yan Erju stepped forward and slapped Wu Yenyun. They are your elders. You shouldn't act this way. It's offensive. They weren't afraid of divine retribution when they abandoned me. Why should I be? Wu Yenyun, covering her left cheek and hysterical, yelled, Leave! Leave! Mom! Dad! Dia! Let's go! Shangguan Dehui positioned himself in front of Anai Tsuehua and her family, guiding them outside. Under these circumstances, Enai Tsuehua and others had no choice but to leave temporarily. Yen Erju sighed, her face filled with guilt as she escorted them to the door. Uncle, Aunt, Sister Tingting, brother-in-law, please don't take today's events to heart. Xiaoyun was just too impulsive. Don't worry, I will certainly teach her a lesson later. Enai Tsuehua wiped her tears and grasped Yen Erju's hand. Sister Erju, it's my fault. She's right to hate me. Don't blame her. Such is the compassion of all parents worldwide. Yen Erju's eyes also turned red. Yes, I know. Don't worry. I won't blame her. I will talk to her properly. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1006, Super Protective _5. Enai Tsuehua nodded. Thank you, Sister Erju. Of course. Shangguan Dehui had known that the outcome of this visit might not be good, but he hadn't expected it to be this bad. Wu Yanyun's reaction had caught him off guard. Previously, he and Mr. Zhang and Mrs. Zhang thought the same, considering Wu Yanyun to be a gentle and honest girl. Now, it seemed that wasn't the case. Several people got into the car. The expressions of Mr. Zhang and Mrs. Zhang were somewhat grim. They had lost their only daughter for decades. They knew too well the feeling of utter despair and had thought that after their explanation, Wu Yanyun would understand them. But Wu Yanyun didn't even give them a chance to explain and even resorted to violence. No matter what, they were her elders. Even if Wu Yanyun didn't regard them as elders, they were still elderly, and her hitting them was simply wrong. In comparison to Enai Yang, Wu Yanyun fell far short. To say he was not disappointed would be a lie. But from another perspective, this child was also pitiful. She had lost her mother at a young age and had almost died. Sigh hopefully. The child can find her way out of this dead end soon. Enai Tsuehua then said, Dehui, Dad, Mom, let's not tell Yang Yang about what just happened. Knowing Enai Yang's temperament, if she found out what Wu Yanyun did, she definitely wouldn't let it go. After all, Enai Yang was a very protective person. Shangguan Dehui didn't say anything. Enai Tsuehua nudged Shangguan Dehui's arm. Dehui, did you hear me? Shangguan Dehui sighed. I know. Hearing this, Enai Tsuehua turned to look at Mr. and Mrs. Zhang in the back seat. Dad, Mom, you mustn't tell Yang Yang either. Mr. Zhang and Mrs. Zhang nodded. At the Wu family house, Erju scolded Wu Yanyun severely. Xiaoyun, you really disappointed me today. How could you resort to violence? No matter what, they are your elders, especially considering Mr. Zhang and Mrs. Zhang's age. Did you even think about the consequences before throwing things? Xiaoyun, murder doesn't even go this far. Think about what you've done. After saying this, Erju stopped caring about Su Xiaoyun and turned to walk to her room. Wu Yanyun stood there, reeling. Was she wrong? Really wrong? Did she deserve to be abandoned? Discarded by people and still expected to smile and say it didn't matter, that she didn't care? She is human, not a toy to be tossed around. Meanwhile, Enai Yang went to Bingji Yufu to do some accounting. It had been a while since she last did so, and after making the rounds, she reaped a huge profit that she could hardly stuff into her backpack, also carrying 2 plastic bags. As soon as she left the mall, she saw Xiaozhou. Brother Yang, where are you coming from? Xiaozhou greeted him. I went to Bingji Yufu to do some accounting. Did you come to browse the mall? Enai Yang raised his eyebrows slightly. Yeah. Xiaozhou nodded. By the way, what are you carrying that's so heavy? Money. Enai Yang didn't conceal it. Xiaozhou unbelievingly said, Come on, Brother Yang. Don't joke. I'm serious. Who would use 2 broken plastic bags to carry money? If there was really that much money, wouldn't one need to be fully armed and able to walk so boldly on the street? It really is money. Enai Yang seriously said, I'm actually on my way to deposit it in the bank. Xiaozhou looked at Enai Yang incredulously. Do you think I look like a fool? Enai Yang nodded. Quite so. With that, and Ai Yang handed Xiaozhou a plastic bag. If you don't believe me, see for yourself. Xiaozhou took the plastic bag. Indeed, just as he had expected. Heh, it was quite heavy. As Xiaozhou carried it, he opened a corner to look inside. His expression changed. Damn, it really was money. And Ai Yang hadn't lied to him. Is this money real or fake? Xiaozhou swallowed hard. Manufacturing and distributing fake currency is illegal. I'm a law-abiding good citizen. And Ai Yang spoke lightly. Xiaozhou immediately envied an Ai Yang officially. Damn, he was so good at making money. Even though his detective agency earned a decent amount each day, compared to the speed at which an Ai Yang made money, it was merely a drizzle, hardly worth mentioning. An Ai Yang looked unfazed, as if accustomed to big scenes. Xiaozhou then said, You, a lady, carrying so much money on the street is too unsafe. Let me take you to the bank. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1007. Super Protective _6. And Ai Yang turned his head to Xiaozhou. Are you sure you can beat me? Xiaozhou. That's a personal attack. Though I can't beat you, I can watch the money for you while you're fighting. Let's go. Let's go. And Ai Yang laughed. After the money is deposited, I'll treat you to a meal. Great. Xiaozhou followed up. But you really trust me to carry the money for you? Aren't you afraid I'll run off with it? And Ai Yang raised an eyebrow slightly. We're all brothers, what's there to fear? The phrase, we're all brothers, inexplicably made Xiaozhou very happy. Being trusted by someone felt really good. Big brother Yang. Now that you've made so much money, remember to treat me to a big meal. I want to go to Gus Tianxiang to eat. With a casual wave of his hand, and Ai Yang said generously, Sure, no problem. Do you have a membership card? Asked Xiaozhou. Yeah. And Ai Yang nodded. I not only have a membership card, but I can also give you one. Really? Xiaozhou was so thrilled he could almost fly. Big brother Yang was true to his name. His connections were too wild. He could even get a membership card to Gus Tianxiang. The bank staff had already grown accustomed to the sight of an Ai Yang using plastic bags to carry money. Thus, whenever Shang Guansu arrived at the bank, the staff would immediately say, President, your sister has deposited 2 plastic bags and a backpack full of money today. Shang Guansu also greatly admired an Ai Yang. She seemed like a fragile young girl incapable of harming a chicken, but her ability to make money was stronger than 10 strong men combined. And Ai Yang took Xiaozhou to Gus Tianxiang to eat. After eating and returning home, it was already afternoon, and Ai Yang asked about the result of Ai Kuihua's visit to the Wu family today. And Ai Tsuehua said, Your second younger sister still holds a grudge and isn't ready to forgive us, but I don't blame her. She's never had a sip of milk since she was a child. If it hadn't been for Sister Erju, she might be dead by now. And Ai Yang hugged Ai Tsuehua and comforted her. Mom, don't be sad. I don't think Yan Yun is the kind of person to stick to her guns. After she calms down in a couple of days, I'll try talking to her. After all, she was her sister born of the same mother. And Ai Yang still had a lot of faith in Wu Yenyun. And before, she and Wu Yenyun got along well. And Ai Tsuehua nodded. Shangguan Dehui looked at Ai Yang with hesitation in his expression. Dad, do you have something to say to me? No. Shangguan Dehui shook his head. I'm just worried. What if Yenyun refuses to forgive us? Would your mother regret it for the rest of her life? And Ai Yang furrowed her brow slightly. If Yenyun really doesn't want to acknowledge us, then let it be. Rather than making a scene on both sides, it's better to part on good terms. All we need to do is fulfill our duties. Leave the rest to fate, and avoid living with regrets. As for Ai Tsuehua, as long as she learned that her second daughter wasn't dead and was living well, that would be enough. No matter what, these mistakes weren't caused by her, and no amount of guilt could change that. Finishing, Ai Yang continued, but based on what I know about Yenyun, She doesn't seem to be the type to be unreasonable. And Ai Yang had known Wu Yenyun for almost half a year. In her understanding, Wu Yenyun had always been a kind, simple, and empathetic girl. As long as she was given time to process everything, and Ai Yang believed she would understand. Shangguan Dehui nodded. Noticing that Shangguan Dehui seemed a bit off, and Ai Yang said again, "Dad, are you hiding something from me?" She always felt there was something strange about Shangguan Dehui that evening. And it's not just a little bit, Shangguan Dehui said with a smile. "Look at you, kid. What could I possibly hide from you? There's nothing to worry about, you're overthinking it." "Really?" And Ai Yang raised an eyebrow slightly. "Dad, we're all family. Don't hide anything from me if there's something going on." "Really? There's nothing." Shangguan Dehui repeatedly denied. So Ai Yang did not continue to question him and went back to her room to ask Ai Tsuehua, "Mom, is Dad hiding something from me?" "What thing?" Ai Tsuehua felt somewhat baffled. "You don't know?" Ai Tsuehua laughed. "I don't know." Ai Yang then said, "Mom, you went to the Wu family today? Did something unpleasant happen?" "Not at all," Ai Tsuehua sighed. "If I had to say something, it's just that Yenyun refused to acknowledge us." Ai Yang knew they were definitely hiding something from her. "Mom, if there's something going on, you have to tell me. We're a family, and if there's a problem, we should solve it together." Ai Tsuehua nodded. Mom understands. If Ai Tsuehua wasn't talking, Ai Yang could ask all she wanted, but it would be to no avail. Thus, Ai Yang could only give up. During dinner, Ai Yang noticed that Grandpa Zheng's forehead was actually swollen. So she asked, "Grandpa, what happened to your forehead?" Hearing this, Ai Kuihua's brow twitched. She looked at Grandpa Zheng somewhat nervously. Grandpa Zheng touched his forehead, smiling and said, "Oh, it's nothing. I was planting flowers this morning and accidentally got hit by a hoe. It will subside in a little bit." Getting injured by a hoe while working was quite normal, so Ai Yang didn't think much of it. "Be more careful when you work, Grandpa. It'll get you some medicine later to help with the circulation and bruising." "No need. It's a small matter," Grandpa Zheng said, unconcerned. Because of Wu Yanyun's situation, Shangguan Su also came back tonight. He had even prepared a gift for his new sister, only to find she hadn't come back at all. The next morning, Ai Yang went out for a run, and Shangguan she went to work with her bag. Just as she arrived at the corner, waiting for the bus, a luxurious sedan pulled up in front of Shangguan Shi. The window rolled down, revealing a handsome face. "Hello, Shangguan Xiaoxi." Seeing who it was, Shangguan Shi was amused. "Wu Chenjun, when did you get back?" The person was Wu Chenjun, who had grown up with Shangguan Shi since childhood. The last time, Grandma Zheng had even talked about matchmaking Shangguan Shi with Wu Chenjun. But Shangguan Shi and Wu Chenjun were far too familiar with each other. Having seen each other in split pants as kids, there was simply no spark, so Shangguan Shi refused. After graduating from high school, Wu Chenjun had spent a few years abroad, so he was dressed very fashionably and sometimes even burst out with a few sentences in English. "I came back a week ago. Shangguan Xiaoxi, you don't care about me at all. You didn't even know when I came back. As soon as I got back, my grandma told me that your whole family had moved to the middle of nowhere, and I couldn't believe it was true." Shangguan she slapped Wu Chenjun on the back. "What do you mean by the middle of nowhere? Let me tell you. This place is great. The mountains are green, the water is clear, and the birds sing beautifully." Although she had only moved to Jinghua village a few months ago, Shangguan she had completely fallen in love with the place. Wu Chenjun brushed off Shangguan Zai's hand. "Where are you heading? Let me give you a lift. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know, report, so we can fix it as soon as possible." It seemed that Shangguan she was truly in love with that Ling. Wu Chenjun sighed softly, changing the subject. "How is your stepmother treating you?" "What stepmother? That sounds so harsh. My mom treats me better than her own daughter." Shangguan, she said. Really? Wu Qinjun expressed skepticism. Shangguan, she nodded. Really, my mom is really good to me. Otherwise, do you think I would have come here with my dad? I'm not a 3-year-old girl. That's good to hear. Wu Qinjun breathed a sigh of relief. Soon, the car arrived at Goldie Road. Wu Qinjun, with gentlemanly grace, went around to the passenger side to open the door for Shangguan Shi. Thanks, Wu Lao-san. Yo, Shangguan Xiaoxi. When did you become so polite? Wu Qinjun habitually fastened her scarf. Wu Lao-san. Haven't you heard of not getting too close to the opposite gender? Shangguan Shi took a step back. Wu Qinjun's expression stiffened for a few seconds, then returned to normal, smiling. Shangguan Xiaoxi. Look at yourself. Where do you even look like a woman? Still talking about not getting close to the opposite gender. After he finished speaking, he stepped over, hooked his arm around Shangguan Zai's neck, and patted her head. Talking about not getting close to the opposite gender. We knew each other back when we were still wearing split pants. Don't give me that nonsense. Shangguan Shi, being a girl, didn't have the strength to match Wu Qinjun. Wrapped tightly in his hold, she couldn't move an inch. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1009. Poor eyesight _2. Wu Qinjun. Let go of me. You're practically choking me to death. Wu Qinjun held tightly onto her neck, a faint fragrance lingering around his nose. If he paid attention, he'd notice it was the scent of roses. Will you stop saying men and women shouldn't get too close now? I won't say it anymore. I promise I'll never say it again. Swear it. Wu Qinjun persisted. All right, I swear. Shangguan Shi held up 3 fingers. Only then did Wu Qinjun let her go. Fine, young master will forgive you this once. You're so annoying. Shangguan Shi rolled her eyes at Wu Qinjun. You've messed up my hair. Wu Qinjun walked up to Shangguan Shi and stopped, leaning in to straighten her hair. If it's messed up, just fix it, right? Shangguan Zai's eyes darted around, and seizing the opportunity, she stamped hard on Wu Qinjun's foot and then swiftly ran towards the workplace. Wu Qinjun watched her retreating back, whistling with a somewhat spoilt young master's air. Just then, Zuoling ran over from the other side and, seeing Shangguan Zai's back, called out with a laugh, Xiaoxi, wait for me. Hearing Zuoling's voice, Shangguan Shi waved with a smile. Zuoling, this way. Zuoling, is this Shangguan Zai's boyfriend? Wu Qinjun narrowed his eyes, his left hand in his pocket, somewhat baffled why Shangguan Shi had taken a liking to such a guy. Poor eyesight? It seemed Shangguan Shi might need a pair of glasses. Wu Qinjun, slightly irritated, took out a pack of cigarettes from his pocket. At that moment, Zuoling glanced back at Wu Qinjun. Xiaoxi, you know that comrade? Shangguan Shi looked back at Wu Qinjun and nodded. He's a friend who grew up with me. Zuoling expressed his surprise. I saw him driving a car. If Shangguan Zai's friend was this wealthy, did it mean Shangguan Zai's family was also wealthy? Was everything he had seen at Shangguan Zai's house last time real? Shangguan Shi smiled and said, he won the jackpot in the lottery before, and now he's already living in a villa. Really? Can you actually win the lottery? In the 80s, lotteries had just started, and most people didn't believe you could actually win. It's true. Shangguan Shi nodded her head. Besides winning the lottery, she had no better reason. How much did he win? Zuoling continued to ask. It must be quite a lot, Shangguan Shi said. He's living in a villa. At any rate, he's certainly richer than us. Making money from buying lottery tickets. His luck is too good. Zuoling looked enviously at Wu Qinjun as he drove away. When could he also live in a villa and drive a car? Based on his current salary, that seemed a bit difficult. Life is so unfair. Some people work hard and still have no car or villa, while others do nothing and drive off in cars. Maybe after work, he should also buy a lottery ticket? Let's not talk about this, we should hurry inside. Oh, did you have breakfast? Chapter 1010. Poor Vision _3. I'm going to check out the corridor outside. And Yang said as she arrived at the hallway. And outside, it really was snowing. The big, flaky snow and willow catkin-like snowflakes were floating down from mid-air, piling a thin white layer on the ground. The snowy weather always seemed to put everyone in a wonderful mood. And Yang turned to look back at the dormitory. Huilan. Choing. Let's go out for hot pot tonight? Ill treat. Sure, sure. Zhang Choing raised both hands in agreement. Li Huilan also expressed her approval. After the evening test, Yang took her 2 roommates out for hot pot. As the 3 of them stepped out of the school gate, they saw a black sedan parked outside. In those times, when sedans were not as common as in the future, they stood out significantly. Just then, the car door opened, and a tall man emerged, unfolding an umbrella as he stepped out, with one hand holding the umbrella and the other in his pocket. His thin lips pressed tightly together. His chiseled face bore no particular expression. He seemed to embody the snow and wind, and the aura of aloofness and prestige emanated from his every move. Against his backdrop, the snowy scenery and people behind him became lifeless props. Li Huilan and Zhang Choing were both stunned. He was incredibly handsome, Brother Mo. And Yang's eyes lit up at the sight of the newcomer. Yang. Mo Chishan strode toward her. Seeing this, Li Huilan and Zhang Choing exchanged glances, both seeing the confusion in each other's eyes. Aren't you cold? Mo Chishan casually pulled Yang's hand into the pocket of his trench coat. Not cold. Yang shook her head. Oh, let me introduce you, Brother Mo. These are my roommates, Zhang Choing and Li Huilan. With that said, Yang continued, Huilan, Choing, this is my boyfriend Mo Chishan. So he's her boyfriend. No wonder he's so handsome, and they're such a perfect match. Hello, I'm Zhang Choing. I am Li Huilan. Mo Chishan nodded slightly. Hello, I appreciate how you've taken care of Yang these past days. At this, Zhang Choing and Li Huilan felt a bit embarrassed. It wasn't that they took care of Yang, but rather she took care of them. Yang's boyfriend sure knew how to speak well. After a moment, Mo Chishan looked at Yang. Where were you all heading? Let me give you a lift. We were thinking of going out for hot pot. Yang nodded. Get in the car then. Mo Chishan turned and opened the door. Yang sat in the passenger seat while Li Huilan and Zhang Choing took the rear. What do you think about Yang's boyfriend? Zhang Choing nudged Li Huilan's arm and asked in a low voice. I think he's really good, Li Huilan replied. Zhang Choing nodded. I think he's really good too. I didn't expect Yang to have a boyfriend. It makes me want to start dating too. But the boys in our school, not one catches my eye. Zhang Choing preferred someone more mature, handsome, and charming. Li Huilan continued. Yang's boyfriend must be rich, right? Their family couldn't even afford a bicycle, and here Mo Chishan had a car. It was incomparable. Do you know how much this car costs? Zhang Choing asked. Li Huilan thought for a moment. Maybe 10 or 20,000 yuan? Zhang Choing laughed. 10 or 20,000 yuan. That would only get you a wheel. My dad also wanted to buy this car, but it was too expensive, so he gave up and bought a car for 30,000 yuan instead. So how much does this car cost? 80 or 90,000 yuan. What kind of amount was 80 or 90,000 yuan? Based on current wages, you couldn't save that amount even if you didn't spend a cent for 70 or 80 years. 80 or 90,000 yuan would get you 4 wheels, said Zhang Choing. What? Li Huilan's mouth fell open, clearly hampered by her poverty. Zhang Choing went on. This car is imported from Y country, and it costs 270,000 yuan after taxes. 270,000 yuan. Li Huilan's face was full of shock, and her look towards Yang and Mo Chishan changed completely. Zhang Choing thought her family was well off. After all, they owned a sedan. But in front of Mo Chishan, their wealth was insignificant, not even worth mentioning compared to his. Beijing truly was Beijing City, rightly the imperial city of old. So what do you think he does? Li Huilan asked curiously. Zhang Qiuying replied, judging by his accent, he must be a local from Beijing. As for what he does, I'm not sure, but one thing is clear. What? If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know, report, so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1011. Poor Vision _4. Definitely an office worker. You can tell by the way he dresses. Li Huilan nodded. I think you're absolutely right. Qiuying continued. When I first came to Beijing for school, my mom told me it's best to find a boyfriend from Beijing because they are well off. Huilan, if you're looking for a boyfriend, you definitely have to find someone from Beijing. Upon hearing this, Li Huilan bashfully lowered her head. I already have someone I like. Who? Qiuying curiously asked. Someone from our school? Li Huilan shook her head. No, he's from the university next door in Beijing. Oh. Qiuying nodded. Have you confessed your feelings to him yet? Li Huilan blushed. Oh my. Let's not talk about that. The car was fast, and they soon arrived at the Hot Pot restaurant. The Hot Pot restaurant was located in the bustling city center, and as it happened to be a snowy day, the place was very lively. The shopkeeper knew Mo Chishan and greeted him enthusiastically. Mr. Mo, you're here. Please, come this way. The shopkeeper led them to a private room on the 3rd floor. The private room was elegantly decorated. After they were seated, an Yen handed the menu to Li Huilan and Zhang Qiuying. Huilan, Qiuying, my boyfriend is treating today, so don't be polite with him. Qiuying smiled. Since it's my brother-in-law treating, we won't hold back then. Qiuying, a year older than Yen, and Li Huilan, also older due to starting school late. Don't be polite with him, Yen joked. Try to eat him out of bankruptcy. Though they were told not to be polite, Qiuying and Li Huilan still ordered conservatively, mainly avoiding the expensive items. They were not the type to lack manners. After they ordered, Yen took the menu and added several meat dishes and also ordered drinks. Initially, because Mo Chishan was there, Qiuying and Li Huilan were somewhat reserved, but as they ate, they loosened up. On a cold day, having a bite of hot and oily spicy beef that makes your nose sweat, followed by a sip of pear soda, the feeling was incredibly refreshing. After finishing the hot pot, Mo Chishan escorted them back to their dormitory. Qiuying let out a hearty burp without worrying about her image. Thank you so much for the generous treat, brother-in-law. You're welcome. In front of others, Mo Chishan always spoke sparingly. Yang, well, head back first then, Qiuying said as she pulled Li Huilan towards the dormitory. Yen was not staying in the dormitory that night, so she got into the car with Mo Chishan. Yang, do you have an exam tomorrow? Yeah. Yen nodded as she fastened her seatbelt. Then I will pick you up tomorrow morning, Mo Chishan said. Tomorrow? Yen asked in surprise. Aren't you supposed to go to Sea City tomorrow? I will drop you off at school before I go. All right then. Thanks for the trouble, Mr. Mo. I'm going to all this trouble. Shouldn't you reward me, wife? Mo Chishan turned and looked at Yen. He had been restraining himself because Qiuying and Li Huilan were there. A man's small requests sometimes need to be satisfied. Yen leaned over and kissed Mo Chishan on the cheek. His cheek was as cold as the falling snow outside, cold as ice. Just then, Mo Chishan suddenly turned around. Their lips met, and a wrist with a watch firmly held the back of her head. Look at the road. The sound of the brakes echoed, and the black car stopped at the side of the road. Fortunately, it kept snowing, and the road wasn't icy. Otherwise, Mo would have definitely turned the car over. After a while, the car started up again. Yen straightened her messy hair and looked back at Mo Chishan. You are not allowed to do that again. Do you know how dangerous that was? What am I not allowed to do? Mo Chishan raised an eyebrow slightly. What do you think? Playing dumb, Mo Chishan said. How would I know, wife? Why don't you demonstrate it again to help jog my memory? And Yang stretched out a hand and firmly twisted Mo Kishin's ear. She did not hold back at all, causing Mo Kishin's ear to turn red instantly. Ancestor, I was wrong. Are you going to be cheeky again? And Yen raised an eyebrow. No more. Really? More real than real gold. Then I'll let it slide this time. And Yen withdrew her hand, satisfied. On the way back, the car was driven slowly. What was normally a 30-minute drive to Jinghua village took Mo Kishin an entire hour, and they still hadn't arrived. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know, report, so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 10-12, Poor Vision _5. But Yang wasn't in a hurry. There were no electronic devices to pass the time in this era, and going back too early wouldn't matter anyway. Plus, sitting in the car and looking at the snow outside felt particularly romantic. By the way, Yang, have we recognized our second sister? Mo Kishin asked. Not yet. And Yang shook her head and continued. The day before yesterday, my parents and both grandparents went to the Wu family's place, but Yenyun is very resistant to this matter. She's unwilling to acknowledge us. I plan to find a time to talk with her. Mo Kishin kept his gaze fixed ahead, as if the result didn't surprise him. If we really can't recognize her, then let's not, Mo Kishin went on. Some people just like to exaggerate everything. They never understand what contentment means. And Yang, as the elder sister, had already done enough. She didn't know Wu Yenyun anything. More importantly, Mo Kishin didn't have a very high opinion of Wu Yenyun. Although she and Yang were sisters, there was no comparability between them. And Yang said, Yenyun just can't accept the reality for the time being. She probably won't blow things out of proportion. Mo Kishin turned his eyes to Yang. As an abandoned infant, it's natural for Wu Yenyun to harbor hatred. After all, she was the one who got thrown away. We don't know what she's been through over the years. But she shouldn't be unreasonable and cling to the issue after understanding the whole story. After all, in this matter, Tsuehua was also a victim. In that environment, Tsuehua had no way to resist. Moreover, throughout this period, Yang had been very good to the Wu family. She rented out her own house for the Wu family to live in, lent money to Wu family's parents to start a business. Without Yang, would the Wu family have their current situation? Would Wu Yenyun? Wu Yenyun was completely brainless. Yang sighed. Mo Kishin continued. Did she show a bad attitude to your grandparents the day before yesterday? I'm not very clear about that. Yang followed up. But I don't think so. After all, the grandparents have nothing to do with this matter. Their willingness to visit shows that they care about her. Yenyun isn't the type to act thoughtlessly. It was understandable for Wu Yenyun to hate Tsuehua. After all, Tsuehua was her birth mother. However, if she also hated grandfather Zheng and grandmother Zheng, she would be completely unjustified. After all, grandfather Zheng and grandmother Zheng had only just found their birth daughter, and the hurt they suffered was no less than that of Wu Yenyun. Wu Yenyun was aware of that part of the past, so Yang believed that Yenyun wouldn't vent her anger on the elderly couple. Mo Kishin went on. I think the possibility is very high. And Yang raised her eyebrows slightly. Mo Kishin spoke softly with his thin lips. Maybe it's a case of as the heart is, so is the countenance. Actually, I find Wu Yenyun a bit disagreeable. Wu Yenyun had a toughness about her that Yang lacked. Hey! Yang patted Mo Kishin's shoulder. That's my second sister you're talking about. Mo Kishin touched his chin. Yang, I think you should prepare yourself mentally in advance. This second sister may let you down. What nonsense! Yang twisted Mo Kishin's ear. Yenyun isn't like that at all. Mo Kishin immediately begged for mercy. All right, I won't say it. It'll just stop. Before long, the car stopped at the entrance of the Ni family's courtyard. Mo Kishin opened the car door, holding up an umbrella. Yang Yang. We have arrived. And I Yang leaned out to get off the car. Mo Chishan handed the umbrella to an I Yang. You should go inside quickly. It's late. I won't come in. And I Yang nodded. Mo go. Then you be careful driving back. I know. It's really cold outside. You should go inside quickly. Mo Chishan waved his hand. And I Yang stood there without moving. I'll watch you drive off before I go in. In the past, it was always Mo Chishan watching her. Now it was her turn to watch him. Mo Chishan rubbed an I Yang's head helplessly. I'm leaving now. Get to bed early tonight. And I Yang nodded. It was only after watching the car disappear into the snowy night that I Yang turned and walked towards the house. Perhaps because of what Mo Chishan had said. After taking a bath, I Yang carried 2 cups of milk to Grandmother Zheng's room. Grandpa and Grandma, you haven't slept yet? Grandmother Zheng pointed at the television. This TV show is really interesting. We're going to sleep after this episode ends. The television was broadcasting Yang Jia Jiang. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. You're such a good person. Wu Yenyun smiled, then turned her head to look in Grandpa Dust's direction, the smile freezing on her lips. Who was that standing beside Grandpa Du? And I Yang? What was she doing here? 3 or 4 days had passed, and I Yang had neither shown up nor contacted her. She thought I Yang must have been really busy, but it turned out I Yang was just busy chatting with someone else. I Yang had already known they were sisters, but she kept it a secret. After the truth came out, I Yang even suggested becoming sworn kin. Sworn kin. So this was her dear sister. I Yang was probably worried that she'd fight over the family fortune. But was she that kind of person? Even if the Ni family's wealth were put before her, she wouldn't glance at it twice. Wu Yenyun clenched her fists tight and walked away in the opposite direction. I Yang glanced that way, frowning slightly. She called out, Yenyun! Hearing I Yang's voice, Wu Yenyun ran faster. There was an alley nearby, and she quickly turned into it, her voice disappearing down the alley. Did I mistake her for someone else? I Yang scratched her head. Grandpa Du also glanced in that direction. Who did you see? I Yang explained. My sister, Wu Yenyun. Did you just see her? Grandpa Du couldn't even remember what Wu Yenyun looked like. Even if he had seen her, he wouldn't recognize her. Twirling his Buddha beads, he said, You probably got it wrong. If it really was her, she wouldn't have had no reaction to your call. That's true. I Yang retracted her gaze and continued. It's so cold. Aren't you freezing with so little on? If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Such people exploit the sympathy of others for personal gain and satisfaction, and they truly don't deserve compassion. That's enough to conclude he's a professional beggar, Grandfather Du asked, still twisting his Buddha beads. Of course there's more. I Yang's eyes were clear and voice was soft. Even though he seems thin, his features are bright and animated. True beggars, due to constant inadequate nutrition, should appear thin and pale. Does he look like someone who can't get enough to eat to you? On hearing this, the middle-aged man on the ground broke into a cold sweat. He had been begging here for so long, and it was the first time someone had exposed him. And the person was a young girl, barely 18 or 19 years old. The feeling was indeed. It seemed he needed to find a new spot. The middle-aged man glanced up at I Yang, then got up and ran away in an embarrassing manner. Watching the middle-aged man's retreating figure, a smile appeared on I Yang's face, her dimples showing lightly. See, he fled in panic. Smiles are contagious. A slight curve also appeared on Grandfather Dust's lips, like a flower blooming in the icy snow. ushering in a rebirth of all things. Wu Yenyun had not gone far. Instead, she hid behind an alley and watched. Because she was too far away, she couldn't clearly hear what they were saying. But she saw Nai Yang stopping Grandfather Du from giving money very clearly. What was Nai Yang doing? Was it intentional? Had she actually seen her already? Just because she had given the beggar 50 cents. Should Nai Yang prevent Grandfather Du from giving money? It was one thing not to give money, but she actually drove away the poor beggar. Why did she do that? That was just too much. Wu Yenyun bit her lip tightly, staring angrily at the back of Nai Yang. It's already noon. Have you eaten? Nai Yang pulled out a wristwatch from her pocket, looked at the time, and asked Grandfather Du if you find any errors. Ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. After finishing their meal and leaving the food street, Nai Yang said, "How was it? The taste of the roadside stall isn't bad, right? Much better than I imagined." Grandpa Du fiddled with his Buddha beads. "Is this your first time eating at a roadside stall?" Nai Yang was somewhat surprised. Grandpa Du gave a slight nod. Nai Yang raised her eyebrows slightly. "Then you really are out of touch." "Out of touch? Is that used to describe men?" Grandpa Du smiled. "You have a way with compliments." As they walked and talked, just then, a little boy holding a snowball ran towards them, laughing as he tried to dodge an attack from a playmate. Kids really don't watch where they're going, and just as he was about to run into Nai Yang, before Grandpa Du could react, Nai Yang quickly steadied the little boy. "Slow down, be careful." The little boy looked up. "Wow, this sister is so beautiful." His face instantly blushed. "Thank you, sister." And then he ran off quickly. Watching the little boy's retreating figure, Nai Yang smiled and said, "Kids are great, carefree." Grandpa Du nodded slightly, then asked, "If you had the chance, would you want to go back to being 5 or 6 years old?" "My childhood wasn't carefree." Nai Yang smiled with a twinkle in her eye. A poor family's child has to mature early. She had to help with chores at the age of 5 or 6, and if she didn't do them well, she'd get beaten. There was no such thing as a carefree childhood. "What about you? Would you want to go back to being 5 or 6 years old?" Nai Yang asked in return. Grandpa Du's lips curled slightly, his eyes looking distant. "I probably wouldn't either. Some people's growth is full of hardships. Having grown up through so much, who would want to relive that pain all over again? If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. I've got to run. I have things to do." The young woman stood up and ran into the luxurious skincare store. After the young woman entered the store, Nai Yang took off her mask, straightened her clothes, and followed inside. As expected, the young woman was there to buy Luxurious Skincare's limited edition gift box. Upon hearing from the employee that it had sold out, she said with surprise, "How could you have sold out so early? I've just gotten off work and haven't even changed my clothes." Luxurious Skincare would be sold in 2 time slots at the beginning and end of each month. One at 9 in the morning and the other at 3:30 in the afternoon. It wasn't even 5 o'clock yet. "Sold out already?" The employee smiled and said, "Some customers who didn't get it in the morning lined up early to buy it together in the afternoon. The gift boxes were already sold out by 4 o'clock. "Is that so? If I knew this, I would have taken a day off today." The young woman looked disappointed. The employee continued, "Although we don't have the limited edition set anymore, we do have non-limited editions available. Would you like me to recommend something?" The young woman waved her hand. "I can buy the non-limited edition anytime. I'm buying the limited edition as a gift. Can't you make an exception for me?" She really needed a box of luxurious skincare. The store manager spotted Nai Yang approaching and immediately greeted her. "Miss Nai, welcome. and Ai Yang nodded her head. Bring me a set of that limited edition. Although the sets were officially sold out, the store still kept a spare in reserve, just in case. Of course, one moment, please. The store manager took out a box of the luxurious skincare set and handed it to Ai Yang. Thank you. Ai Yang took the gift box and walked out at a leisurely pace. Just as Ai Yang stepped out of the store, the young woman who had just approached ran after her. Comrade, wait up! If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Ai Yang shook her head. Just give me 210. 210? Li Tong was stunned. Hadn't they agreed on 10 times the price? Had she heard wrongly? Ai Yang continued. The original price of ice skin jade skin is 210 yuan. If I took 2,100 yuan from you, wouldn't that be extortion? You seem more desperate than me. Helping others is like helping yourself. Here, take it. Li Tong hadn't expected this response from Ai Yang, thinking to herself that this young lady was rather nice. She smiled and said, under circumstances where both parties are willing, this wouldn't be called extortion, you know? Comrade, are you sure you want to sell it to me for 210? Although pained by the thought of the 2,100 yuan, Li Tong wasn't one to go back on her word. Ai Yang nodded. It's like making a new friend then. My name is Ai Yang. You can just call me by my name. All right, then you call me by my name too. Li Tong took out 210 yuan from her pocket and handed it to Ai Yang. Ai Yang took the money, and they both left the mall together. Just as Ai Yang turned to leave, Li Tong suddenly called out, Ai Yang, wait a moment. Is there something else? Ai Yang turned around slightly. Li Tong fished out a notebook and a pen from her pocket. Ai Yang, what's your phone number? Do you mind leaving it with me? That way, we can keep in touch more often. Ai Yang knew the store manager of Ice Skin Jade Skin, and with that contact, Li Tong could buy as many boxes of Ice Skin Jade Skin she wanted anytime. That would be really convenient. Using limited edition items also tended to be good for networking. Li Tong felt that her luck today was incredibly good. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1018. Tit for tat _5. Ai Yang wanted this exact effect and nodded, saying, all right. Then he recited a string of phone numbers. After memorizing Ai Yang's phone number, Li Tong tore a page from his notebook and handed it to Ai Yang. Ai Yang, this is my house's phone number. Okay. Ai Yang nodded slightly. The next day was Saturday, and Ai Tsuehua went to the Wu family. Having learned from the last experience, this time she didn't bring Old Master Zheng or Old Lady Zheng, nor did she bring Shangguan Dehui. She came quietly. The door of the Wu family was closed. Ai Tsuehua stood at the door and knocked. Knock, knock, knock. After a short while, the door opened. The person who opened the door was Wu Dalong. Seeing Ai Tsuehua, Wu Dalong joyfully said, Auntie Hua, you've come. Ai Tsuehua, smiling, handed the candies she was holding to Wu Dalong. Dalong, is your mom at home? Wu Dalong shook his head. Mom went to Dad's company. Wu Jinshu was in charge of the construction site for Ai Yang at Jinghua Village. Someone had to supervise the construction company. Is your sister at home? Ai Tsuehua continued to ask. She's at home, just sister and us, Wu Dalong answered. Ai Tsuehua nodded. Wu Dalong then said, Auntie Hua, please come in and sit. He then raised his voice and yelled towards the inside. Big sister, Erlong, we have guests. Come out. Ai Tsuehua followed Wu Dalong inside. Wu Yenyun and Wu Erlong came out of the room. Who's here? Yenyun. It's me. Ai Tsuehua emerged from behind. Seeing Ai Tsuehua, Wu Yanyun's expression instantly changed. The last person she wanted to see now was Enai Tsuehua. The sight of Enai Tsuehua reminded her that she was a child abandoned, and also brought back memories of her tragic past. Why are you here? Yenyun. Facing Wu Yenyun, Enai Tsuehua seemed a little flustered. I've already made it very clear last time. Our family doesn't welcome someone like you. Please leave immediately. Wu Yenyun pointed towards the door. Wu Dalong frowned. Big sister, how can you speak to Auntie Hua like that? You're being so rude. That's right, big sister. How can you ask Auntie Hua to leave? She's a guest. She's also an elder. Wu Erlong also seemed upset. Enai Tsuehua had always been so kind to their family. How could Wu Yenyun act this way? Wu Yenyun looked down at her two brothers. This has nothing to do with you two. Go back to your room. Wu Dalong refused to go, and Wu Erlong also remained standing. Go back now. Under pressure, Wu Dalong had no choice but to head towards the room, taking Wu Erlong with him. Just before they reached the room's door, he looked back at Wu Yenyun. Big sister, if you dare to be rude to Auntie Hua, when Dad and Mom come back, I am going to tell them. Let them punish you. After Wu Dalong and Wu Erlong went into the room, Wu Yenyun coldly faced Enai Tsuehua. A person lives with a face. A tree lives with a bark. What exactly do you want? To stop harassing me? Enai Tsuehua, with tears in her eyes, said, Child, I know I've wronged you. What do I need to do to earn your forgiveness? No matter how Wu Yenyun treated her, this child was still the one she carried for 10 months. Not protecting her own child, it was her failure. She just wanted to compensate Wu Yenyun more. Forgive you? Wu Yenyun looked at Enai Tsuehua, her lips curling with sarcasm. From the moment you abandoned me, I will never forgive you again. Since you decided to throw me away at the beginning, why pretend now? It really makes me sick. Sick. So her own daughter found her disgusting. Enai Tsuehua felt as if a knife was cutting through her heart. Yenyun, don't be like this, listen to my explanation. At that time I had no choice, the Mu family valued boys over girls. She had resisted, but resistance only resulted in a severe beating. At that time, Enai Yang was still young, and her family wasn't supportive, so she could only watch as her newborn daughter was discarded. Her daughter was discarded, and she felt more tormented than anyone. No choice? No choice allows you to throw away your own daughter? Did you ever think, I am a human life. If I hadn't been picked up by my mom, I'd be dead by now. You have no rights to my forgiveness. Everyone urged her to let go of the past, to try and understand Enai Tsuehua's hardships. They said it lightly because none of them were the ones who were abandoned. They will never understand her pain. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know, report, so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1019. Tit for tat _6. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Enai Tsuehua took out a passbook from her bag. This is some money I've saved over the years. The password is your birthday. That money was all saved from selling spicy strips by Enai Tsuehua, adding up to more than 90,000 yuan. 90,000 yuan was already a huge sum of money in those days. I don't need it. Wu Yenyun swatted away the passbook being offered. Do you think this money can make up for the hurt you've caused me? Never in a million years. Enai Tsuehua reached out to pick up the passbook, her face streaked with tears. Wu Yenyun looked down at Enai Tsuehua. Do you want me to forgive you? Enai Tsuehua looked at Wu Yenyun, a flash of joy in her eyes. Yenyun, are you willing to forgive me? There's one way you can earn my forgiveness. Tell me, Enai Tsuehua said eagerly. Wu Yenyun continued. You just throw away Enai Yun as well. Let her taste what it's like to be abandoned, and I'll forgive you. Why should she be the only one to endure all this pain? It would only be fair if everyone took their turn. Otherwise, she would never forgive Enai Tsuehua. What? Enai Tsuehua looked at Wu Yenyun in disbelief. Enai Tsuehua could never have imagined Wu Yenyun would make such a demand. To throw away little Ni Yun too? How could she do such a thing? What's the matter? Can't bear it? Wu Yanyan's mouth curved with a mocking arc. If you could abandon me when there was no other way, why can't you abandon Ni Yun when there's no other way? Just because she's your most beloved youngest daughter? Do you think that's fair? Ni Tsuehua said to Wu Yanyun, she's your sister? Not taking good care of her own child was her responsibility, but how could Wu Yanyun transfer that anger onto little Ni Yun? What did this have to do with little Ni Yun? This wasn't a matter of fairness at all. Ni Tsuehua looked at Wu Yanyun in front of her, feeling this person was excessively strange. I have only 3 younger brothers, no sisters, and certainly no beloved younger sister treasured like a pearl by the family. Look, the moment you talk about throwing away Ni Yun, Ni Tsuehua changes, because she simply can't bear to part with Ni Yun. All that talk of having no choice, of being forced, it was all excuses. All of it, just excuses. Apart from that demand, I can meet any other request of yours. Ni Tsuehua closed her eyes in agony. Don't need them. I have only this one demand, Wu Yanyun continued. Now go and abandon your most beloved youngest daughter, and then when she comes of age, find her again and give her some money. See if your most loved little girl will forgive you. Ni Tsuehua looked at Wu Yanyun with tearful eyes. Yanyun, isn't this asking too much of me? This is all my fault. You can beat me or scold me, but it has nothing to do with Yun. The child is innocent. I beg you not to do this. Wu Yanyun sighed. Her heart was filled with immense sorrow. She didn't know why fate had assigned her such a mother, so cruel and so biased. Ni Yun is already 3 years old in nominal age. I had just been born when I was abandoned. Playing favorites like this, what right do you have to be a mother? Ni Tsuehua cried inconsolably, barely able to utter a complete sentence. Wu Yanyun continued, since you don't want to abandon Ni Yun, then I'll step back. Ni Tsuehua looked up at Wu Yanyun. If you don't want to abandon Ni Yun, then drive Ni Yang out of the house, sever the mother-daughter relationship, and from now on live your lives completely apart. Wu Yanyun enunciated each word, making Ni Kuihua's heart grow colder. Are you joking with me? How could she possibly sever the mother-daughter relationship with Ni Yang? She couldn't do it. If it hadn't been for Ni Yang bringing her back from Dam Village, would she even have her current life? If it were Ni Yang standing in Wu Yanyun's shoes today, would Ni Yang be so aggressive? The answer was clear. Ni Yang definitely wouldn't act this way. I'm serious, Wu Yanyun continued. If you really were a fair mother, if you truly intend to acknowledge me as your daughter, then you should let your other daughter experience the pain I went through back then. If Ni Tsuehua was willing to break with Ni Yang, then she would be willing to forgive Ni Tsuehua. It was a matter of how much she mattered to Ni Tsuehua. She was just returning the favor. Ni Tsuehua looked at Wu Yanyun with a heart-wrenching pain and said, she's your sister, child. She's your sister. If it hadn't been for your sister, I would be dead by now. You wouldn't have what you have now. How could you speak such words? Where is your conscience? Conscience? Wu Yanyun looked at Ni Tsuehua, her lips curling with sorrow. Her conscience had been eaten by dogs long ago. Ni Tsuehua has the nerve to ask about her conscience. They all said Ni Yang had helped her. But without the Zheng family's influence, what could Ni Yang have done to help her? Ni Yang had known about her origins for a long time but kept it hidden, offering help out of guilt. Ni Yang wouldn't even spare a beggar on the street side. So how could she have been so kind-hearted as to help her? She had misjudged the person. Get out! Wu Yanyun didn't want to say any more, pointing at the door and saying, get out! Right now! As a child who was thrown away, Wu Yanyun had already been forbearing, but her blood-related mother kept disappointing her. Ni Tsuehua took a deep breath. Child, I hope what you said today was just an impulse. They'll be leaving first. Wu Yanyun thought that Ni Tsuehua would stay, continuing to plead for her forgiveness. But she hadn't expected Ni Tsuehua to actually leave. She left without looking back. She was the one who'd been cast aside. So why should she suffer so much pain and humiliation? Wu Yenyun sat in the chair and sobbed silently. And Ai Tsuehua walked down the road, her soul seemingly in tatters.